Hello friends and bees and friends who are also bees, and welcome to this week's Indie Thursday stream. Astonishingly, it is somehow Thursday, I know, and we are going to be continuing our playthrough of Higurashi When They Cry Minagoroshi. It struck me actually quite recently that we're now on the second to last chapter. After this, I am going to be doing the console arcs, but just these story-based ones. I'm not going to do the like omake style ones. Just the ones that like add to the story. Fuck. Just the ones that add to the story of the game of Higurashi. I apologise for the honk followed by a quick fuck there. I live next to a drawbridge style bridge that does a loud honk whenever it's shutting to let boats through. And normally it's done by this time of night, but mind you, the other night at 10 o'clock we had a massive loud honk and it just goes on and on forever. It's not even like honk honk like normally it is. It's like, here's, 15 seconds of uninterrupted loud honking. But anyway, that's my rant for the day. Just wanted to update everybody on the fact that although this is the second to last of the main Higurashi story arcs, it is not the end, and I am going to be doing the console arcs, but I have no idea how long they will take to do because I'm downloading them straight from 07th mod rather than like buying them through Steam because they're only available on consoles. That's what I wanted to get at. Anyway, swap over to the GP, shall we? This is where it doesn't pick up, and then I cry. This is also when I desperately hope that my commands work. There they go. I'm hoping this desktop audio is okay. That's better. And let's pick up from the start of chapter 3, I believe is where we were at. Is that right? That can't be right. Start of chapter 4, that's where we are. I forgot that I'd saved at the end of chapter 3. You're also going to have to bear with me because I fucked about with my Stream Deck recently. But it means some of my commands have changed, so I'm still getting used to like my new setup. Anyway, what's happening is we're playing from the point of view of Rika. We know that we're going to get murdered, we're trying to work out who's going to murder us, and we're going to Dr. Irie to see if he can help protect us against murderings. Hello, I'm surprised to see you here on a day other than Sunday. I have something I want to ask Takano. Is she here today? No, she must be on a date with Risa. I wish I had a date too. Why do you call him Risa? I don't understand. Haha, you should ask him yourself. It was a small mistake I made when we first met. It was funny how he reacted. I don't get it. That's what nicknames are all about though. What did you want to talk to her about? I'll see her at the meeting tonight, so I'll take a message if you want. Thank you very much, but I'd rather talk to her directly. I see. Alright, I should get back to my work now then. You're not seeing any patients today? I've been busy with paperwork for the meeting tonight. Been preparing for it a while, but I didn't have enough time. I'll get in trouble if it's not finished in time. Aren't you busy coaching the baseball team too? You have so much energy. Haha, I'm such a busy guy. I'm looking for a He laughed and looked at his watch. He seemed to be in a hurry. Do you have any idea where Takano is right now? They're probably going around to different places in the village. I know that they always meet at the shrine. She left not too long ago, so she might still be somewhere near there. I looked at the clock on the wall. I might have just missed her. This is no time to be chatting with Irie. Thank you very much. I'll try the shrine. You shouldn't bother those lovers, as they only see each other 4 times a year. He smiled mischievously and waved his hand goodbye. Hand in goodbye. I know how words work. I headed back to the shrine. I was going to park my bike by the stairs that led to the shrine grounds. Satoko and I are the only ones who park our bikes there normally, but I saw more than 10 bikes there today. People must be gathering at the convention room. There are more and more meetings when the Higurashi festival draws close. Seeing all these bikes reminded me that summer is nearly here. Most of the bikes were old and beat up. However, I saw 2 unfamiliar ones parked there. They were sporty mountain bikes with the same design but different colours. They must belong to Takano and Tomitake. I went up the stairs to look for the 2 of them, but couldn't find either. Was there any place with a great view for taking pictures? I tried looking in places like that, but I still couldn't find them. So I started looking based on what Takano might be interested in. I could only think of one place. I'd be really intrigued to see if I'm right, and it was Thingamajig, Rika's ghost friend, who was the noise inside the ritual storehouse. Because I've been thinking about that since, like, book 1. I'm also going to move my drink. It covers a bit of OBS now, but I'm less likely to accidentally hit it and cause chaos. How was it, Jiro? It's a pretty simple lock. All I need is the right tool. I should be able to open it in a minute. You can do that? You opened the lock to my heart, but that's not the only thing you got at, huh? I'm going to curse you. 2 of them jumped in surprise as I suddenly appeared in front of them. Hello, Rika. It wasn't nice of you to scare us like that. It's not nice to try and open the ritual storehouse's lock either. She's right, Mr. Takano. We can't do something like that. Tomitake conceded right away, but Takano was stubborn. She made up excuses to try and fool me. Based on her previous lives, I knew just how much interest she had in the storehouse. It was actually rather impressive how hard she tried to cover that up. The ritual storehouse is full of the remainder of the dark history of Onigafuchi. It contains bloody and vicious tools that Takano is fascinated with. She should have a good idea as to what those things are inside the storehouse, based on what she's been researching. She was making up some story about cultural trellis and such, but it was obvious she was just making excuses. Tomitake also seemed impressed, listening to Takano's phony justifications. In the past, I've tried to conceal what was inside of the storehouse from Takano, because I don't want her spreading information about the holy and brutal traditions they used to have in Onigafuchi village. It would be a disgrace. As a member of the Fruit family, I can't let that happen. Looking at the history of Onigafuchi in the way Takano does is a painful thing for Hanyu as well. That's her name. For Hanyu, the ritual storehouse is a special place. I don't know what's so nice about being surrounded by their scary ritual tools, but she feels cozy when she's surrounded by the smell of old times. The storage is like Hanyu's hideout. When I can't see her, she's usually relaxing in there. I don't want Hanyu's happy place to be turned into the bloody, horrifying den of evil Takano believes it to be. That's why I've been keeping Takano away from the ritual storehouse. Come to think of it, why am I so mean to her? Is it because I hate her? I should stop feeling that way. I have to keep in close contact with Takano and Tomitake. I won't give up just because it didn't work before. I'm going to try one more time. This world is different from the other ones. I might be able to change their fate, which in turn might change my own. Hanyu, I'm thinking about showing the ritual storehouse to Takano. Oh. Hanyu made an irritated face. Takano will lose herself in ecstasy if she sees what's inside of there. She'll run around spreading rumours of the bloody history of Onigafuchi. Hanyu wasn't too excited about that prospect. I'm not trying to curry favour with Takano, but I think it might give me a chance to talk to her. Takano holds on to grudges, so if I'm mean to her now, she might not listen to me later. I understand that Hanyu doesn't want her inside this holy place, but you can't do anything more than be irritated about. I'm the only one who can make the ultimate decision. Besides, she'll forgive me if I promise to eat something sweet later. Takano, if you'll keep a secret, I'll let you in. Really? Inside the ritual storehouse? You don't mean inside an emergency shelter, right? I mean it. I'll let you into the ritual storehouse. You mean this storehouse? Inside of this building? I'm not trying to trick you or anything. I'll let you inside. I'd never seen such a big smile on her face before. Now this is a miracle. I'm seeing this face for the first time in 100 years. Tomitake must be feeling the same way. His image, pardon me, of Takano was slowly falling apart as we spoke, I'm sure. No, maybe he just found a new side of her to love instead. I'm surprised that Takano is actually such a funny person. Communication is important. It's sometimes so hard to tell what people are all about. We remained there and watched Takano spinning into light for a while. This is a secret, so no one can see us going inside. You're right. I'll try and calm her down. I'll go get the keys now. By the time I came back with the tea, Takano was totally calm again. She was obviously trying to hide how beautiful she was, though. I thought she was a mature lady, but she might still be a kid at heart. I think they called that something like cat moe. I picked that term up at some point from Keiichi, but I'm still not sure how it's used. Oh, Keiichi. Well then, Takano and Tomotage, before we go inside, you must promise me something. Otherwise, you can't go in. Of course. You're willing to break the rules to open the Forbidden Storehouse for us? We'll keep our promises. Mr. Kana, you have to take this seriously. I am taking it seriously. My image of Takano is falling to pieces right now. Same here. Her market is crashing all over the world. Reina said it before. It's not a good idea to think about problems all on your own. I always hated the crazy part of Takano and I didn't want to be close to her, but I never thought she could act this way. She was acting almost like Reina does when in her cute mode. Had I known that she was as funny a person as this, I wouldn't have felt resentment towards her. I realised how important communicating can be. First of all, you have to promise you won't tell anybody that you went inside the storehouse. Don't tell anyone. Of course I won't. I'll promise. Takano put her hands to her chest. She also forced Tomotage to do the same. It was funny to watch Tomotage trying to keep up with Takano too. Also, you can't damage anything inside the storehouse. Of course not. Is it okay if I take pictures? You can, but I'll charge 100 yen per picture. What? How much money do you have on you right now, Chiro? If you pay me 10,000 yen, you can take all the photos you want. That's a good deal. I'll take it. Chiro. They paid me the money for real. Hanyu seemed excited, knowing the money could be used for buying desserts. I love there's such a serious thing as being treated so serious, so sillily like. Oh, Takano is such a nice person. So greedy. I finally got approval from Oyashiro-sama, the master of the storehouse. We'd have no more problems now. The ritual storehouse is behind the building with the convention room. Sometimes people come out for a cigarette break. I can't let anybody see us entering. You're good. No one is around. Tomotage checked out the scene and gave me the signal to go ahead. I nodded at him and unlocked the door. I pushed open the heavy door just far enough for us to sneak inside. It looks suspicious if you wait outside like that. What? I can come inside too? He seemed surprised that I was asking him to come inside with us. Tomotage, of course, wasn't particularly interested in what was inside the storehouse. I expected a surprised reaction. Chiro, Rika is telling you to come inside. Come on now. Alright. Tomotage squeezed inside as Takano urged him. I turned the light on and closed the door. Then I put the chain on from inside. You're locking us in? Just so that a bad kitty cat won't sneak inside, you know? You talking about me? Takano, a cat is supposed to go meow meow, Nipa. What do you mean? If you don't act like a cat, I'm not going to let you see what's in here. I brought cat ears and a collar with a bell for you too. If you don't put them on. Shrine storehouse has 2 doors so people can't see inside when the first door is opened. At the moment we are inside the entry chamber. Real storehouse is in the room beyond. What? It's a bad joke, Rika. You wouldn't really. Huh? What the hell? I'll do it if I have to. You're testing me to see how devoted I am to my research, aren't you, Rika? Fine, if that's what you want. She definitely would have joined our club if she was around our age. I agree. Hey, remember how they said shredded stocks fell like snow on Wall Street during the Great Crash? Takano's value right now reminds me of that. I love it. Bring it on, Rika. You sure you only have to wear the ears? Mr. Takano, this door isn't even locked. See, push and it opens. Really? My dear, how shameful of me. Tomotage has no sense of humour. He just turned off a lot of viewers who... Anyway, he's right. You just have to push it, Nipa. Once we went through the door, we found ourselves inside the storage area. There were no windows in there, so it was completely dark, even during the day. There were several light bulbs hanging from the ceiling, but they were dim, and the light only exaggerated the darkness inside. Oyashiro-sama's statue and the altar dominated the centre of the room. They were surrounded by tons of ancient torture implements. They were all over the floor, walls and ceiling. It looked like a torture room rather than just a storage of tools intended for one. This is amazing. Tomotage was rendered speechless. They were nothing like those fake torture implements that they might have seen in a wax museum or something like that. The tools in this room were the genuine articles. I never like to think about it, but I'm sure some of them were really used. These authentic tools always have a big impact on people who see them. But Tomitake was the only one who was shocked.
It's John.
Thank you for the host, Thigh. It is very much appreciated. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a good day. Ugh. I have to remind myself every so often to take a break from reading and have a drink, because otherwise my throat dies. Tomitake was the only one who was shocked, since he was the only normal person in the room. Oh, sorry for the flashing. Takano's eyes were sparkling. She was taking pictures. This place isn't special to me. Of course I know I'm supposed to treat it as a holy place, but I'm so used to seeing all these things after coming here countless times since I was little. To me, it's nothing but a storehouse with a lot of old stuff inside. As for Hanyu, she says it's the only place that air from times past lingers in the present day, so she finds it comforting. I get in a good mood when I come here, because Hanyu gets in a good mood. This is a relaxing place for her. As I watched Tomitake's reaction, I noticed how totally off my values are from normal people's. Takano's reaction seemed more natural to me in a sense. Hanyu seemed to be bothered by Tomitake's reaction too. Maybe it was a bad idea to let him come inside after all. Not like I could kick him out at this point. Hanyu and I sat on the cushion in front of the altar and watched Takano dance with childish glee while Tomitake made touching efforts to keep up. I wonder why they made so many torture implements. The whole purpose of torture is to make people confess to something, right? Why was it necessary for them to have so many? Chihiro, do you know that there are 2 ways to threaten people with torture implements? The first one is to inflict pain on the victim. The other way is to threaten the victim by just showing them the tools. In that sense, having a countless number of them can give tremendous fear to the victim. My Takano voice is all weird. I've heard that torture requires skill. I suppose it's hard to really hurt people without killing them. I try to make a sound unnerving, but it doesn't work. Tomitake acted like he's having a conversation with Takano, but his voice was obviously unsteady. Some Western torture implements were so vicious that if they really used it on the victim, they would have killed them instantly. To be precise, there are 2 types of torture implements. First, there are simple tools that are simply used to make the victim confess. The other type is for entertaining those who are watching the torture. I'm frustrated that some people can't tell the difference between those 2. Let me ask you, what were you trying to gain from the victims by using these tools? Tomitake asked me that. He must have thought that Takano would say something far more scary if he asked her. He's forgetting that I'm just a little innocent girl. I think they were forcing the victims to obey the rules of Minagoroshi village. That's what I believe. Am I right? Yes, you are. Most of these tools were never built for actual use. They were simply displayed in front of the villagers to intimidate them. That's why there are records saying that when they actually tried to use them, some of them were the wrong size or simply malfunctioned. So they really did use some of them then? That's not a pleasant story. Some people were just not obedient, despite the threat of Oyashiro-sama's curse. Hey Rika, are you sure these tools were mainly used to intimidate people in the village? I've heard that they were used for cooking and dissecting during the real Higurashi. Hanyu was making a frustrated face. She didn't want to remember the dark history of Minagoroshi village. People performed countless torture ceremonies in front of her, claiming that they were doing it in her name, the name of Oyashiro-sama. She asked them not to do that, but no one was able to hear or see her. No comment, Mika? She always talks to me about it too. Long ago, the villagers of Minagoroshi would receive a divine message, go down to the foot of the mountain, kidnap people and eat them, right? I wonder why they did that. Was it a display of force or something? I believe it was a type of ceremony to make them all realise they were higher on the food chain. The greatest outspoken reasons Minagoroshi forbade intermingling with outsiders were that the village was a holy land, and they were transcendents, greater beings than humans. Mingling with tainted humans would bring corruption. That's what they were taught. So they probably needed to reaffirm their idea that they were above humans at regular intervals. In Japan, there was a tradition of displaying severed heads on pikes. While such a warning is inhumane, it's an extremely good deterrent. The victim was brutally tortured in public, and then they were eaten alive. What would you think if you saw something like that? Anyone would simply think that they didn't want to be in the same situation. There's also a history of crucifixion in this country. They hanged the victim and stabbed him with spears in front of an audience. Probably know this already, Jiro, but people don't really die from being stabbed once or twice. They might have had a chance to die if they were stabbed in the stomach or chest, but not instant like a guillotine. They bled from their wounds, the guts were pulled out, and they eventually died by drowning in their own blood. This needs a gore warning. I should have put one on ages ago, but hey, here we go. I also want Twitch stats to not take so bloody long to update. OBS has captions now? When did this happen? Sorry, I got completely distracted there. They bled from their wounds, guts were pulled out, and they eventually died by drowning in their own blood. In that sense, the guillotine is such a merciful tool. Did you know? The guillotine was invented with an ability. Actually, I did know this. It was invented because they were able to die instantly, which wasn't the case with shooting or hanging. The nobles got special treatment all the way up to death. There's an old black and white movie that I know of. It's a love story set during the French Revolution, but the final guillotine scene is the best part. The nobles are lined up and bound in chains, and they get publicly executed on the guillotine one by one. Fun fact, I know about the history of the guillotine thanks to your friend and mine, Assassin's Creed French Revolution. Fun fact. Snap, next, snap, next. Human lives are taken away like they're on a conveyor belt. There's no last words or prayers or anything. Snap, next, snap. It's not even that entertaining because it's over in a flash. No one holds any sentiment for their deaths. Audience enjoys how the nobles' heads are sliced off like vegetables. It's like a show to them. I think it's more respectful to kill someone slowly and brutally. That way people pay a little more attention to them, right? Oyashiro-sama here was one who made this brutal torture possible. Takano raised his hand to honour the statue of Oyashiro-sama. Oyashiro-sama is just an idol created by human beings. That idol was worshipped with fear and made divine. Yes, people laid the bricks of his church with rules and doctrines, strengthening it with a mortar of curses and malediction. As they stacked and stacked those bricks up high, its height reached up to heaven and the god was placed above it all. Gods are born because people desire them. So when people seek to rule others with fear, they become the collection of blood, torture and pure terror. And here they call that god Oyashiro-sama. In other words, this proves that the stairs to godhood are built not by gods, but by human hands, and shows the way for us humans to attain further heights, and... A passionate lecture was interrupted by a loud noise. As I looked back, Hanyu was jumping up and down with her eyes full of tears. Thud, thud, thud. She was stomping the floor as hard as she could, making loud noise instead of screaming out with her unheard voice. However, it all amounted to the same thing. Hanyu cannot be heard by people. That's not right. That's not right. I'm not like that. Hanyu. I hate seeing people get tortured or killed. I want people to be happy together. Of course not everything is perfect, but I never asked people to do such horrible things. Hanyu, you are who you are. Oyashiro-sama has nothing to do with you. That's not right. That's not right. I hate Takano. I hate her. She always says horrible things about me. She's a bully. Was it a bad idea for me to bring Takano in here? I knew that Takano would get overstimulated and say something like this. Fortunately, Hanyu's rejection indirectly reached Takano and she stopped lecturing. Somehow, Toмотake had heard the noise that Hanyu made. He pressed his finger onto his lips and told Takano to be quiet. What is it? Well, I just heard a sound like a child was jumping around. Might be a child somewhere near this building. Really? I didn't hear anything. I'm sure I heard it. Mr. Takano, we're in here in secret. I think you should look around without making any noise. Takano seemed disappointed, but Toмотake was right. She had no choice but to be quiet. Toмотake, there are no children around this place. Are you sure? You didn't hear it either? I'm sure I heard a noise. I heard it too, but it wasn't coming from outside the building. It was jumping right behind me. I guess you heard it from far away, but it was very loud to me. I was standing in front of the altar, and the statue of Oyashiro-sama was right behind me. Toмотake seemed freaked out to hearing what I just told him. Although he was trying to fake a smile, his face was turning pale. However, Takano didn't seem scared at all. Takano, You can't say things that would upset Oyashiro-sama in front of him. Oyashiro-sama is very angry now. Can't you hear his voice? It's fortunate that she can't, to be honest. Even if she heard it would be nothing but tears. My job as a shrine maiden to begin with is to tell humans what Oyashiro-sama is feeling. I'm responsible for speaking on Hanyu's behalf. Takano must have realised I was very serious about what I just said. She apologised to me right away. I'm sorry. I took it too far. I'm sorry, Oyashiro-sama. You are a god as long as people worship you. Even though I may not worship you, you are still holy. I'm sorry for disrespecting you. Oyashiro-sama loves sweet food. You get cursed unless you offer something sweet through me. Tomatake couldn't help but smile. Takano also smiled. She bowed to me, promising to bring over some cream puffs soon. Takano finally stopped saying bad things about Oyashiro-sama. She also promised to bring me something sweet. Hanyu was still upset, but she was probably satisfied for the moment. But I didn't know what she meant by the 3 fingers she was showing me. Was she telling me to ask Tanaka-hana for that too? Being a shrine maiden was not an easy thing. Oyashiro-sama said saying that he wants at least 3 king puffs. I just want to make it clear that it's not me asking for that. They took that as a joke I made to reduce the tension. Tomatake and Takano cracked up, holding their stomachs. Hanyu was looking at them with surprise, not knowing why they were laughing. My face, meanwhile, was turning red with embarrassment. Fine, I'll get 3 delicious cream puffs for Oyashiro-sama. Should I get some for you and Satoko too? No, I don't need any. But there is something that I want to tell you. What is it? Since you let me inside the storehouse today, I'm willing to do anything for you now. Then, I want you to believe what I'm about to tell you now. Please, don't ask me why or make fun of me. Please believe me and change fate to save me. Both of them are surprised to see such a serious look on my face. I was sure they'd be surprised. After all, I was about to explain to them that they were going to die in 2 days. I'm sure they'd want to deny that, but I knew a fair bit about their deaths. If I could explain it to them in detail, they wouldn't be able to laugh it off. I talked to them about it several times in previous lives, but they never took it seriously. I only had that slight possibility that they might believe me. Hopefully, the possibility is as small as a miracle. Should be engraved on the side of a die. My friends overcame their fates, and we all rolled a 6. Should I call that a miracle? Please, God, let me roll a 6 again. Please let them believe that death is upon them. I'm really intrigued to see how this ends. Irie turned the light on as soon as he finished his presentation. There were about 8 men wearing lab coats inside the meeting room. My hands hurt because I've been typing all afternoon. The man sitting at the far end was the only person without one. Upon seeing Irie finish his speech, he clapped his hands several times. Having noticed his applause, the other men in the room soon followed suit. Excellent. Very, very excellent. I'm quite satisfied with your progress. Your hard work has paid off, Dr. Irie. Huh. Well, the more you fucking know, huh? Tomatake is. From the, Infectious Disease Centre. No, I would say it's because of my incredible staff. I really do owe them my gratitude. We really are getting close to finding the perfect cure. There are a few more sticking points left, but they can all be resolved with time and financing. We're counting on your support on that front. With sufficient funding and labour, I estimate we'll be done within 3 years. By 1986, we should be able to establish a complete treatment for it. From here on out, our challenge is for establishing a treatment package that other, unspecialised medical facilities can easily administer and developing an easier, cheaper test for it. With regards to testing, Dr. Irie is currently researching ways to detect potential patients through blood samples. Once that process is established, the test can be administered alongside regular physical exams, and we believe that will drive costs down significantly. That's wonderful to hear. The current tests are pretty involved and expensive after all. Sorry, I'm truly grateful to hear you considering the costs too. Healthy citizens are supposed to be our nation's asset, so it really is shameful to bring up the budget, but from our perspective, we'd like to shave every yen we can off the costs. Of course, we understand. If we established a treatment that was impossible due to the cost, it'd just be pie in the sky. It's our job to develop a practical treatment, not a theoretical one. Tomatake started clapping again, and everyone followed him. You're truly a respectable man as well as a talented doctor. I'm honoured to have met you. No, I can't sincerely accept your applause until every person has been treated and the so-called cost of Oyashiro-sama has been exterminated. We hope for your continued cooperation until that time. So it seems like, Takano's theory is right, and, poor Reina wasn't entirely delusional. She may have been partially delusional, but not entirely. Likewise, I'll do everything I can to make sure you receive almost every yen in the budget you've outlined. Please, keep up the good work. Tomotage and Irie shook hands, and the meeting room was filled with applause led again. That's it for tonight's meeting. Tomorrow's the main event we're all waiting for, the budget hearing. Let's all push hard. Takano was being sarcastic, of course. Staff members in lab coats were smiling bitterly. Well, I'll give my greatest efforts for the budget you all need to. To be honest, I want to be on your side myself, but I'm the one who has to explain things to the brass and the one they come down on directly. You have my deepest apologies, but regretfully, I'll be vigorously examining the budget. Please continue lending me your cooperation. That's your job, so we can't blame you. We'll see you tomorrow. In any case, that's it for today. Once Irie declared the meeting over, his white-coated staff gathered up their documents and left after glancing at the clock. It was almost midnight. The staff who were off tomorrow might be alright, but those scheduled to work needed to sleep soon, or it would hinder them the next day. Takano gathered up the butts from the ashtrays as well as the empty coffee cans. My, some people didn't drink their coffee. We managed to get a coffee budget for meetings approved, but I wonder if they'll cut that budget if people don't drink it. Don't be so mean. I'm not doing this because I enjoy it, you know? I've heard about things like that where they sort of have artificial expense on things not needed to keep up yearly budgets, because if they get cut, it'll be the next year that something happens and you need that budget. Sorry, I'm like wiggling my hand around trying to find something like... Ah, that's better. My hands are really hurting, so I'm like wiggling them around to find somewhere non-painful to put them. Oh, Mr. Kano, I'll take that leftover coffee. I'll take one too. That way the budget won't go to waste. The two of them seemed more relaxed with the other staff members gone. Tomotage and Irie loosened their collars in a sign of relief. How are Rika and Satoko? Are they doing okay? I heard last week that Satoko's test results weren't that good recently. No, but it actually wasn't that big of a deal. She was a bit out of sorts because of the heat wave. Her new results came out very stable. Dr. Irie is very passionate about Satoko. That's not true. As a physician, I treat all of my patients equally, to the best of my ability. But if she feels grateful, that'd be one. That's good. That's proving quite difficult. It'd be wonderful if there was a way to completely cure Satoko, but I guess that's what's difficult. Once a patient reaches the L5 state, like Satoko has, it's easy for them to re-experience hallucinations, similar to a patient suffering from flashbacks. Those technically aren't caused by the disease, but by the normal defense mechanisms cultivated in the brain. Like the idiom, a scalded dog fears cold water suggests, the brain naturally uses past experiences proactively for our survival. In simpler terms, emotional trauma. Worse yet, we suspect she may have suffered damage to her frontal lobe, so she needs more delicate counselling and long-term medication than the usual trauma patient. There was just a click, which surprised me, but it was the click of my heating stopping to be running. You may be able to treat her illness, but you can't treat her mental health. Is that what you're saying? There are plenty of people functioning in society with emotional trauma. Your boy is one of them. Even if she's just one more to the mix, that's still a miraculous recovery considering the state she used to be in. Think about diabetic patients. There's no cure, but many of them live happily by managing their condition. She still needs the 3 shots a day? No, she's recovered quite a bit, so she's down to twice a day now. I think that puts a lot less strain on her too. She was so afraid in the beginning, but Rika talked her into it. Into getting the shots, you mean? Satoko was told she's receiving financial support from us by supporting our research, so she thinks she's getting 2 shots a day not because she's sick, but as a test subject for your research? Chihiro, it would be a horrible thing for us to explain to her what kind of illness she's suffering from. Didn't I tell you this before? Ah, well, I remember. Sorry for being insensitive. If you happen to see Satoko somewhere, please be kind to her. Alright, I will. Rika's such a strong girl. Her background is similar to Satoko's, yet she's leading such a steady life. We have Rika and her deceased parents to thank for all of this. Without their understanding and support, we would have never discovered even a hint of the cure so soon. She even endured our inhumane experiments very well. We wouldn't have the results we do today without her support after overcoming her parents' death. I'd like to repay this debt we owe her somehow. I agree. Tokyo also recognises that Rika and Satoko have rendered us a distinguished service. They will be compensated for their work someday. Hey, you guys don't even want to pay for our coffee filters. Again, don't be mean. You keep bringing that story up. but even though all we can do is compensate them with money, I wish there was a way to pay them back from our hearts. Takano muttered like she's talking to herself, but it almost sounded as if she was talking to them. I'm sure there are many ways for us to show appreciation. There are many ways we can pay them back. Dr. Coach, I guess you're already doing that for them all the time. I suppose I should be nice to those girls too. Indeed. Plus, Rika was very nice to you today. I nearly forgot. I have to take that film to get developed first thing in the morning. It was such a wonderful experience. History, culture, the smell of it, everything about it was wonderful. Irie wondered what she could have experienced during the day. Toмотake could only smile and act like he didn't know anything. And by the way, Mr. Kano, what do you think of what Rika told us near the end today? What are your thoughts? I want to believe it's only paranoia. She did say there's no absolute proof either. What's going on? From what you said, it sounds like Rika's showing some bad symptoms. Her test results from last week. I thought they came up pretty good, but did you see anything different, Dr. Irie? No, they were as stable as always. If Stoker's results are a wave during high tide, Rika's are the quiet surface of a lake. Haha, just like their personalities. What's the possibility of a sudden outbreak? What are you talking about? Don't tell me Rika's showing symptoms of the disease progressing. Rika asked us for something today. She wanted our protection because she feels like someone is going to murder her. No way. Who would try and kill her? That's impossible. Rika's a beloved mascot here in the village, and I don't think she has any enemies. I think it was just her imagination, too. Why does she think that someone's trying to kill her? If she's experiencing paranoia, she may be in the early level 5 stage. She said she saw it in her dreams. She wants us to reinforce security around her because she feels threatened. For a young girl like that, it's not uncommon to get scared after having a nightmare, but we need to determine if it's really just a dream or if she's showing early symptoms of the disease. Okay, let's give her an urgent checkup tomorrow. I really hope nothing is wrong. She's the most valuable person in this village. I hope she's okay, but what should we do if she is? Chira, if that's what she wants to return for what she showed us today, it's not even a big deal. If she's worried about her safety and wants to rely on us, I think we should support her. That's what paying her back with our hearts is all about. You're right. Even if she was just dreaming, we'll lose her trust if we don't support her. This is our chance. We found a way to show her our appreciation. Yeah, I agree. Besides, she has a right to seek that support from us. Yes, we have to make sure to protect her at all times. That's true, though that's your job, not mine. So please, give her your best. Understood. Mr. Kano, please do what you can to keep her safe. It's probably not so serious that we need to bring in the bloodhounds from Tokyo. True, you can't ask them to come over just because Rika had a nightmare. Alright, I'll order at least 4 members of the Mountain Dogs to watch 24 hours a day. That's impressive. That's tighter security than when I went to Tokyo. She deserves special treatment. I'll make sure she gets the best security in the country. No one would dare plot an assassination on her. I kept the best bodyguards out there. Not even a super spy could lay a finger on her. Onikafuchi Banzai. Takano, did something good happen? Well, I mean... Me too, buddy. Intriguing. I am intrigued. Enjoying this uppy music to wake me up a bit. After looking through the items that had been donated for the auction, we'd realised there was nothing kids would be interested in. Keiichi insisted that the show would be a success unless there was something kids would like their parents to buy. He's probably right. For that reason, we went to the toy store again today. We were trying to get the owner to donate something that would interest all the kids attending the festival. I see. I did get to sell off my old stock. I mean, you know, different games the other day because of you guys. I want to support you if I can. My grandma wants the auction to be something that both kids and adults can enjoy. That's what she's hoping for. You understand? Can't you help us, Uncle Yoshio? Well, if that's what your grandmother wants. Okay, I'll do my best. I don't know what she would say to me on New Year's if I refused. Haha. Wow, I guess Mion's grandma's pretty scary. We've never met, but I've heard of how terrifying she can be. According to Shion, she enjoys ripping people's nails off. That's just Shion trying to scare you. I know Mion's grandma very well. She's a very nice lady, as long as you're polite to her. I'm impressed you can refer to that monster as a nice lady. She's scary when you're not polite. Also, she's scary when you don't show proper respect. Bah. So are you saying she wouldn't be nice to me? Keiichi, we have a deal. He said we can take some stuff. His laugh was a painful one. How can the people in this village always listen to Mion? It's the power of the Sonozaki family. Mion is like their princess. No one would dare contradict her. You're also the princess of the Furude family, aren't you? Thank you. Members of the Sonozaki branch family so when businesses usually get their funding from Mion's family. They can never go against the will of the main branch. Sonozaki family made a fortune on the black market after the war, and they've invested those fences' capital into businesses run by the family and villagers. They charge almost no interest and require no co-signers or collateral. So long as one gives a proper explanation, they'll provide a notable sum. The money has to be paid back, of course, but it's lent between family and community. Ladies, gone to sleep. They're willing to make some adjustments if one goes begging. For that reason, everyone is borrowing money from the family. And that, more than anything, is why they can never refuse a request from Mion. Alright, try and find something that might be interesting to kids. I need something big in size. It's not that exciting to sell a deck of cards at auction, you know? Big things will attract more attention. So we need to look for something big and expensive. Oh, leave it up to me. I'm very good at finding things like that. I can see where this is going and I've got a bad feeling. Let's try and be considerate of the owner too. Wow, look at Raina. The stuffed animal is so cute. What? How it's adorable. I'm taking all of them home with me. You know, you guys, please don't take too much, okay? Shop owner smiled bitterly at us. What do you think this is, Keiichi? It says swing on it. Is it like a playground kind of swing? Wow, it's so heavy. It must be a build-it-yourself swing. You can build it inside the house or out in the yard. It's not as big as the swings you see on playgrounds, but it's big enough for little kids to play on. It's fun in the beginning, but they'll eventually get bored with it and it'll be used to hang laundry on instead. Sounds like it's coming from experience. Did you have one of these, Keiichi? In my last house. I got it for Christmas when I was little. It looks really impressive, doesn't it? Oh, it's a good choice, Raina. Here, Keiichi, stick this paper on it. People from the council will pick it up later. Mion handed Keiichi a piece of paper that said Town Council on it. She was carrying around a whole stack of them. She's really thorough when it comes to things like that. Keiichi, how about this one? It's a small pool you can put in your yard. Oh, that's a good choice too. What do you think, Mion? Well, in Hinamizawa, you can always go to the river if you want to play in the water. Don't know about that one. This goldfish pattern is adorable. I think this pool is a good one, I think so too as well. Doesn't it just look perfect for setting up all kinds of traps? No way. I'm the one who's going to end up trapped in there. Not taking this one. How about this one? It's an elephant slide, meep. I think this one's nice too. I want to take it home with me. If you push the tech off the top, she would roll down like a ball. Wouldn't that be so much fun? Don't you think so, Hanyu? Oh, stop being so mean to Stoko. Oh, this one's nice too. I'm taking it home with me. Alright, let me stick this paper on it. We enjoyed the privilege of picking donations for a while. I started to feel bad seeing the owner's troubled expression. I patted him on the head to try and comfort him. Rub, rub, pat, pat. Meow. Wow, this is mahjong. What is it, Keiichi? Keiichi found something in the tabletop game section. I walked towards him to see what it was. There I saw a green mat on the table with the mahjong tiles all lined up on it. They arranged in a square shape as if someone was playing there until just a few minutes ago. Huh? What's this, Uncle Yoshua? Were you playing mahjong at work? No, that's not it. I'd expected to see board games and card games in a toy store, but not mahjong. I guess it isn't weird for a toy store to sell this there. Wow, it's been a long time. I think I've forgotten most of the rules. Wow, it's incredible for a girl like you to know mahjong. Oh, let me guess. You guys played this at the club, right? It must have been the end of last year. Of course, I was very good at it too. There were lots of traps lying in my discard pile. Neon, listen here, you had 4 young girls together and you played mahjong at school? Hey, Keiichi, you can't underestimate this game. Hinamizawa gets lots of snow in the winter. Whole village enjoys mahjong in those months. We hole up inside a warm room and enjoy some tangerines and mahjong. Turned on the end of your music program on the TV. That's what winter is like here. It's probably how the Sonozaki family spends its winter. Doesn't mean the whole village does that. I forgot that Hinamizawa gets lots of snow in the winter. I see. I guess mahjong would be the standard game adults play around the kotatsu. Keiichi, mahjong is a serious game. It's a necessity in every man's social life. When they sit around the square jungle, they become Seiryu in the east, Byakko in the west, Suzaku in the south, and Genbu in the north. I know about those from the Four Lords in Final Fantasy XIV. Abandoning their hierarchy and squabbles, they fight on equal terms. It's the same spirit as in the ancient Olympics. See? Isn't it amazing? I'm less concerned with that, more afraid of what kind of punishment you'll set when you bring it out to club again. Do you know how to play, Keiichi? My dad loves it. He always forces me to play when he doesn't have enough people to play with. I don't know if I'm good, but I know the rules. Don't know how to calculate anything though. Anyway, why is there a mahjong table here? Everyone looked at the owner. Well, I was talking with the customer this afternoon, and he said he could show me how to do the Tsubama Gaishi. What? Did you say the Tsubama Gaishi? That's the greatest scam in the history of mahjong. It's the ultimate technique developed in ancient China. Its power was so great the emperor at that time banned its use. I didn't know that there were people who could use it in this era. By the way, this is a second-hand story I got from my father, so I can't guarantee the authenticity. Tsubama Gaishi? Isn't that a technique of Musashi Miyamoto? How does that involve mahjong? It's a ball technique where you switch your hand with a wall in a flash. Nippa? Hey Neon, why would you teach something that bad to an innocent girl like this? Well, I want to see it. Can anybody do it? Can you, Rika? I only know about it. I can't do it myself. Satoko, weren't you practicing it a while ago? Wait a minute, Satoko. Don't practice something like that at your age. But she's a trap master. Sounds like something she would do. Oh. The best time to set a trap is when the opponent is sure of the victory. So did you ever get to master it? You're practicing, right? Well, I can never use it in a real game. Even in practice I only succeeded once or twice. How? I want to see it. Do it for us. I want to see it too. Very well, Yule. Don't laugh if I can't pull it off, alright? Satoko sat in front of the table and started piling up the tiles. Do you really think Satoko can do it? Well, I don't know. It'll be amazing if she can do it, and cute if she can't. I don't care if she makes it or not, because I enjoy seeing her act shy like this. Well, first of all, you start by planting the tiles you want into the wall ahead of time. I see. Then you later swap them for your hand. But how? Sleight of hand? Well, you instantly swap all the tiles from your hand with the planted tiles. This is a scene I'd love to show you all through an animation video or something. Since we can only use words here, please make up for it with your imagination. I have no idea who Neon could be talking to. You say looking at the camera. Love to break that fourth wall. Are you ready? Everyone gulped and looked closely at the table. Satoko moved her hands like a swan on a lake. She had 13 tiles in front of her. Then she silently flipped them all face down. Then she lifted them up by holding both ends and silently placed them against the back edge of the wall, keeping them hidden. This is it, Satoko. I don't know if I can do it, but I'll try. We all went quiet. Satoko reached out towards the Yamahai. Then she grabbed the whole thing with her small little hands. Let me explain how hard it is to pick up the wall for those unfamiliar with mahjong. Hand is usually made of 13 tiles. If you push into them from either side hard enough with both hands, you can lift them up in the air. You might drop and scatter them if you're not experienced, but it's still not that difficult. However, it's not that easy for the wall. The Yamahai usually consists of 17 tiles, plus there are 2 rows on top of each other. This is the important part. It's not as simple as lifting up 2 rows of 17 tiles on top of each other. You must lift up 17 tiles from the top row, and only the 4 tiles from the edges of the bottom row. By setting them on the 13 tiles from your hand placed behind the wall, you can bury your hand in the wall, and the lower 13 tiles that remain from moving the wall become your new hand. This is the ultimate technique, the Tsubama Gaishi. It's a technique that lets you switch all 13 tiles in a split second. You can do it, Satoko. I could see Satoko trying to concentrate. She was supposed to be doing this more naturally since it's a technique for cheating, but since for the moment it's just performance, I suppose it's fine. Someone audibly swallowed, and at that exact moment she made her move. There. Crash. She had put too much strength into it. Her tiles fell apart. Can't do it. It's not that easy, you know. I see, but I think I understood the gist of it from Neon's explanation. Let me try it. I'm going to try too. I guess I have to master this one now or else it'll be troublesome later on. I'm trying it too then. All of us except Neon took a seat and started piling up the tiles. At a glance you look like small children who are just playing with the tiles. But they're actually practicing with Minagoroshi. I'm proud of how my club members are growing up to be decent kids. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong and I'm sorry. My hands and Stoko's hands are about the same size. If she can do it, I know I can too. Of course I can't really use this trick during a real game. We were just playing around, but I was having a good time. I've never done this before in my 100 years of life. I think my hands are slowing down. I'm so frustrated. So hard just to lift up the first 13 tiles. How? Listen, Reina, you have to use your pinky fingers. There you go. It's going to explode if you push too strongly. But you have to use enough strength to lift it up. It's difficult, isn't it? It's very difficult to lift up the first 13 tiles to begin with. Not everyone can get past this stage. Stoko was doing well the first time, but she lost her concentration and is dropping the tiles now. I took Kate's advice and supported the tiles with my pinky fingers and lifted up. Oh, I did it! Meep! I lifted up the first 13 tiles. Good for you. Rika has the lead on us. We need to do better. You're good at this. Can you do the next step? It's not that easy, but I really want to get it right before anyone else. That's why we're racing towards right now. I'm going to do it. Is Rika going to be the first one? You're done if you pull off the next move. That one is so difficult. Go-ka. My voice keeps dropping out when I do Hanyu's voice. I suppose it's accurate for a little ghosty girl. This is the hard part. I had to lift up the whole top row and only 4 tiles from the bottom row. Probably didn't need to use too much force. I can do this. Crash. Oh, too bad. With the number of tiles increased to 17, it got more difficult, didn't it? Going to do this before everyone else. There'll probably be a punishment for those who can't make it. Huh? Is that Mion? I wonder what I should do. There are only 4 seats, so Mion wasn't even in the game. Did that mean that she could set up a punishment with no risk to herself? How? It's not fair. You're not even playing, Mion. If you have time to complain, you should practice harder. This is getting interesting. I thought we all came this way to Okunomiya to get donations for the auction. Why are we doing this now? Although that's why I love hanging out with these people. If it wasn't for them, I would have lost my soul a long time ago. I would have become a worthless piece of flesh. I've heard that rabbits can die from loneliness, but humans are no different. Humans can also die from boredom. Hanyu, I really do think this world is special. I know all of these events could happen individually, but now they're all happening at the same time. This is like a miracle. Your fate really was too unfortunate up to this point. You deserve this kind of happiness every once in a while. You're right. If I have such a miserable and deadly fate, I do deserve some happiness that evens out the sadness. I don't like the luck I've been getting in this life for something I've been saving up for 100 years. The people I love are all healthy and happy. I also asked Takano to reinforce my security. I don't know if she really will, but she promised me. She never did that in my previous lives. I think her reaction to my request was the best one so far. In fact, she was skipping on her way back home. She must have been in a good mood. I was sorry for breaking the family rules, but I think it was worth it. I told them that their lives were also in danger, but I doubt they really believed that. They didn't seem too frightened by it. I'd have to give them a final warning on the night of the Tanagashi. If I try warning them too often, they'd never believe me. Does that mean there's nothing for me to do in this world right now? I don't know. Until the moment of truth is here, it's impossible to tell. I'm blessed with this miraculously good fortune in this world. Sorry. Futzing. God, I hate having nerve problems. It's really annoying. Just by the by. I'm blessed with miraculously good fortune in this world. I gave it my best effort using all my previous experience. But did I do enough? I wish I could have my fortune told. I just wanted something to tell me that I did everything right. Please tell me what my fortune is. And as soon as I made the wish, God granted it to me. Oh, what's going on here? I suddenly heard a low voice. Keiichi and Reina dropped the tiles as soon as they heard it. Hey, Mr. Oishi, what are you doing in a toy store during working hours? Chairs. Chair does this great thing where it just drops down by itself when I'm not in it, and then I lean forward and abruptly my desk is like at neck level. Well, it's a stupid chair. I don't understand people who have their chairs really low. Hello there, don't worry, I'm off duty today. You mean bad luck today? What are you all doing here, eh? Looked like Oishi was ordering something from the owner. I wonder what this old guy wanted from a toy store of all places. Mion was wondering the same, and she asked him instead of me. Haha, my Mahjong mat is warped because I kept it rolled up in storage for a long time. Green cloth is peeling off the underside of my kotatsu board too, so I couldn't use that one either. You play Mahjong at home? It's a nice way to spend your day off. Perhaps you got in trouble at the Mahjong bar and they banned you from going in there or something. No way, no way. I'm a gentleman in any public establishment. I'd never cause any trouble like that. Anyway, you kids like Mahjong? Figured that young people didn't even know about the game. Please don't underestimate my club. We'll play anything that has a winner and a loser. We never turn our backs to a battle. We play Mahjong, slot machines, horse riding, heisting, bike racing, boat racing, calligraphy, flower arrangement, and croquet. I think she'll make us fight in the middle of a lava pit someday. It's okay, Rika. Even if you die in that battlefield, you come back out of nowhere 2 or 3 chapters later. I have no idea what Katie and Rika are talking about. Whoops, I accidentally took screenshots of that. Oh well. What are you guys doing? You planning up the tiles? No, not that. We're practicing the Tsubame Gaishi. Practicing the Tsubame Gaishi? Haha, oh dear. He's the one who showed me how to do the Tsubame Gaishi earlier today. What did you say? Hoo-hoo. It's not like I can use it in a real game, but it's one of the tricks I can do. Oishi, Mr. Oishi, will you please show it to us? I really want to master that technique. If I don't, I'm going to get in real trouble this winter. Haha, sure, let me show it to you. You must be the boy from the Maebara mansion. Oh, sorry, yes I am. I'm Keiichi Maebara. I moved here recently. Nice to meet you. Hey, you've never met him before? This is Mr. Oishi from the police department. He's on the festival committee as head of security team, so you'll see him at the meeting too. I've heard about you. They say you're always full of energy. I'm looking forward to meeting you because everyone is saying you're going to be a great auction host. You have such a big responsibility at the festival. I'm surprised you accepted the offer. Have a lot of courage. But I'll do my best since I took on the job, so I hope things go well. I'm Keiichi Maebara. It'll be a pleasure working with you. You're also a very polite young man. I'm impressed. I'm Oishi from the Okonomiya PD. You can call me Kura if you want. You can sit in my seat, Oishi. Oh, thank you. Let me show you the trick then. He rapidly gathered up the tiles. I could tell he'd been doing it for a long time. I heard that judo fighters can tell their opponent's rank just by looking at how he ties his belt. It's just like that. Haha, thank you for complimenting me already. Alright, are you ready? I'm going to do it now. There you go. Third swoosh, clack clack. All done. I'm all done now. Wow, that was fast. We all broke out in cheers. You often hear the audience cheer for a big performance on TV, but it really was more impressive seeing it in person. He did it so quickly too. He made it look so simple that anyone could do it, but everyone here knows that it's very difficult to do. That was why we were all impressed at how easily he performed the trick. How... you're amazing. You're so good. I'm trying to find a... I'm distracted by trying to find a way to, like, sit that isn't causing my arms problems. Love to have random love pains, my favorite thing. Love it so much. That was incredible. I'm seriously impressed. Will you teach me in slow motion? Sure, why not? Try and do what I do. It's more difficult in slow motion, but pay attention to how I use my fingers, especially my pinkies. First, you go like this, right? Okay, you understand that part. Now what comes next? Then you do it like this. No, don't lift it up. Try and think of it as sliding it forward, but don't push it. Just slightly lift it up like a hovercraft. Slightly lift it up like a hovercraft. There! Damn it! You don't need any strength. You can't make any noise, you know? You have to do it silently, like a ninja. Silently like a ninja. Let me try one more time. It was strange. I'd never seen Keiichi and Oishi play Mahjong together. Take that out now that we're done with the grossness for now. Keiichi and Mr. Oichi look like they could become good friends. Wink. I guess that's like male bonding or something. Oishi usually only appears after Takano and Tomitake get murdered on the night of the Tanagashi. He's only ever appeared on the scene as a detective. He always approached Keiichi as a detective, so he never thought of him as someone he could trust. He only thought of Keiichi as a decoy to expose the culprits amongst the villagers or some nonsense like that. So even when you see it, it's hard to believe that Keiichi and Oishi are having a good time together like friends. I've never seen Keiichi and Oishi getting along with each other. I know, it's my first time too. How am I supposed to react to this? I thought it was a bad thing when I first saw Oishi today. I couldn't understand this world at all. My heart was pounding and I had the strong feeling that I'd roll a 6 every time I threw the die. I should roll it again. I think I'll roll a 6 again. I'll know it before I roll it. I will roll that 6, and I will finally defeat my deadly fate. Welcome to our store. Oh, there you are. Mr. Oishi, I got it for you. My heart started racing. The voice sounded so familiar. I'd heard it before. But that couldn't be right. Han, you always warned me. Don't expect too much. Couldn't be him. Oh, Akasaka, thank you very much. Did you have any trouble finding the store? I'm sorry, I got lost. Who knows where I'd be now if that nice postman didn't help me. Haha. A young man was standing there. Ooh, no idea that Akasaka was handsome. He was wearing a casual outfit and holding a plastic bag in his hand. I always thought Akasaka wore a shirt and tie. He also seemed much smaller. He looked at me as I stared at him. Normally you look away when you make eye contact with a stranger, but we stare at each other without averting our gazes. Is that you, Akasaka? And you are Rika? Huh? You know him? Akasaka, you knew Miss Rude? That's a big surprise. It's been so long. You grew taller, didn't you? You seem stronger too. This is Mamoru Akasaka. He's a detective from the Tokyo Metropolitan Public Safety Department. He sometimes shows up in Hinamizawa in 1978. He has no relation to Hinamizawa or my deadly curse, but outside the village, he's the person I trust the most. I've asked for his help in the past several times, but nothing ever came of it. He's from so far away. He forgets about me once he returns to Tokyo. That's why I've given up on him. Why are you here in Hinamizawa again? I left my daughter with my parents, and I came here on a trip with my wife. Your wife? Yes, you saved her life. Haha, you must have no idea. Akasaka loves his wife so much. Was it 5 years ago? He was in Okuniya for a business trip, but he suddenly abandoned his job to return to her side. That's how much he loves her. How? That's so romantic. He warned me that something bad was going to happen if I didn't go back to Tokyo. That really concerned me, so I went right back to the hospital where Yukie was. Then I heard that a janitor got in an accident on the stairs that led to the rooftop that day. The towels on the stairs were loose. The janitor fell down the stairs and got seriously injured. I knew that was going to happen because I'd seen him lose his mind after hearing about his wife's death in a life I lived a long time ago. Falling down the stairs seems like just the luck of the draw. I didn't think it would happen all the time, but it had happened to him over and over again. So I thought there must be some kind of reason behind it. I guessed it was because of the broken tiles on the stairs. If he didn't show up at the hospital that day, his wife would have gone up those stairs. It was her daily routine, but she didn't go because he showed up. Meanwhile, the janitor went up the stairs and got injured. Rika saved Yukie's life. I'm not sure if that's really true, but Akasaka has no doubt that you saved his wife's life. He really wanted to meet you again. Rika's good at predicting things sometimes, though. That's because she's the reincarnation of Miyashiro-sama. Oops, Kumon's Tato should be here soon. We have to hurry, Akasaka. Well, Meibara, let's do this again. I'll teach you something more useful next time. Sure, thank you very much. See you again, Rika. How long are you staying here, Akasaka? I'll be here until after Utanagashi. Kind of long for a vacation, isn't it? They told me I need to use up my vacation days. I just finished a big job, so my boss told me to take some time off. I'll be there at the festival. I heard it's going to be a huge event. That's right. It'll be more than just the drinking party you had last time. Akasaka, let's go. You saved Yukie's life. I'm going to make it up to you one day. When that time comes, I'll lend you my strength. I will be killed in June of 1983. It's been 5 years, and I'm stronger and more experienced. I'm different now. I'm sure I can help you. Felt like I rolled a 6 without even throwing the die. Akasaka followed Oishi and ran outside into the bright sunlight. Henry, does this also seem like luck to you? Well, seems like fate is on your side this time. Remember the day we held a club activity in this toy store? The moment I refused to play the fishing game, this world started changing. My strong will is changing the path of fate. My strong will is going to change my fate. If I have a strong will, I can also change the results. I believe in you, Rika-chan! In the immortal words of your friend of mine, George Michael, gotta have faith. It's It's incredible that Akasaka reappeared and also that he's handsome. I feel like we're winding up, like, changing all the things of fate, and it's going to go terribly. I feel it deep in my bones, you know? We rode our bikes back home together. I was in a good mood. I almost felt like humming a song. I could feel my deadly fate slowly falling to pieces. I felt like my fate was urging me to move on. Just like the sun and the moon during an eclipse, the wheels of my fortune were perfectly matched for the first time in a long time. This really might have been a miracle. This wasn't like the true miracle of Keiichi remembering the past. It was good fortune within expectations, but when it was arranged this well, it was enough to be considered a miracle. I couldn't remember the last time I felt so good in June of 1983. My name is Rika Frude. My ominous fate was moving away from me. With each step I took, that deadly fate withdrew further and further. I'd have to stay strong and take advantage of this miracle. I moved forward at a high speed. Minagoroshi was so close. My luck and effort had brought about a miracle, and so I will defeat my fate. This time for sure. Go for it, yay! The next moment, something happened. Keiichi had accidentally scratched a motorcycle that was parked by the street. A group of 3 delinquents were trying to intimidate him. Oh, what should we do? Just watch. I have the power to get rid of them now. I think we should call the police. Don't worry, Stoko. Leave it up to me. Rika? Hey, Rika! I walked towards the delinquents even as they grabbed Keiichi by his collar. The hell are these pathetic guys? They're trying to stand in my way when I'm trying to have a happy future? I should teach them that nothing can stop me now. I know I'm rolling a 6 without even throwing the die. Say something, you punk! You listening to me? They continued to grab Keiichi's shirt. Keiichi, Mion and Reina were staring at them with a vicious look in their eyes. I got in between them. Huh? What the hell do you want? Ouch! Get the hell out of here. Don't even think about ruining my fate. I plucked his nose with my fingers again. He never expected that a little girl like me would attack him. He seemed surprised, but he quickly returned to being angry. Then he picks me up by my collar too. Rika! Stop it, you jerks! Let it go! Oh, Rika! Do you have a plan? No, I don't. But I'm trying to prove that this is nothing compared to the power I have now. If I can't deal with this situation, I'll never escape from my deadly fate. I rolled the die, knowing what I was going to get. I knew I'd be rolling a 6. Next moment, 2 men in working overalls came up to the 3 delinquents and tapped them on the shoulders. Let go of her. She's just a little kid, you know. Who the hell are you? They started the fight. Shut up and go away. These working men weren't just random people who were passing by. I knew who they were. Let's have a talk over there. One of the men pushed the 3 delinquents to the side of the street. The other man spoke to me in a calm voice. Are you okay? Rika? Thank you very much. You saved us. He lent me his hand so I could stand up. Off with you now. We'll take care of the rest. I don't know who you are, but thank you so much. Are you sure we can go now? Yes. Don't worry about us. And thank you very much. I can hardly believe that Keiichi was so weak. Let's go, everyone. We got back on our bikes in a hurry and left the scene. They had no idea who saved us, but were glad all of us were safe. But I knew who they were. Those must have been the security guards who worked for Takano. Takano kept her promise. Those guys are professional bodyguards. They only do what they're ordered to, but they make sure their mission is complete. If Takano told them to protect me, that's the best protection I can get. Is the white van that was following, Reina last time. After we left the scene, a white van with 2 men in it followed us. Nightingale reporting, Ara's moving to the safe zone. We will continue escorting her. This is Heron, roger that. Everything was working in my favour for the first time ever. Pedals seemed so light that day. I felt like I could fly into the sky if I wanted to. I feel it in my bones. Bad stuff is going to happen soon. You new tips. Oh god, not her. Here's your plane ticket. Don't be late. You'll get the rest of the money when you get there. Thanks a lot. Here, Mamiya. Haha, thank you. I always wanted to go to Sapporo. You sure Hojo wasn't suspicious of you? Don't worry, he's stupid. He's got a big dick and a big attitude, but that's all he's got going for him. Haha, is that so? Next moment they heard several cars coming towards them. The man looked out the window and saw 3 black cars screeching to a halt by the apartment building. Several intimidating men emerged from those cars. Some of them even looked up towards the window. He quickly hid himself behind the curtain. Shit, they're here. Run! Are you serious? But why? Come on, Mamiya. They're going to kill you. They heard the men running up the stairs. They sounded angry. I guess this is when Rina dies? Because she definitely dies in one of the previous ones. Anyway, our next achievement is Living Without Hope, which shows me exactly how this is going to go. Who knows what's happening, really? It was a very humid day. Not even a slight breeze was blowing. It had been an unpleasant summer, that one that wasn't only hot but swelteringly so. There were various articles of clothing hung out to dry in the messy apartment windows, but the lack of wind evoked an impression far removed from coolness. In fact, it only felt more impressive. There were crooked houses and apartments lining the narrow, twisting road. In addition, there were planters and flower pots whose contents were beginning to rot, as well as bicycles and cars on the side of the road, making it even more cramped, oppressive, and sweltering. Nobody who was in this place at this time was visiting it voluntarily, but in spite of what everyone might expect, a single motorcycle came rolling in. The motorcycle stopped in front of a 2-story apartment, one that could hardly be called neat even as a flattery. A man, fairly old and wrinkled, stepped off. When a nearby housewife hanging out the laundry noticed him, she called out, "Well, hello there. It's quite hot today again, isn't it?" "Oh, you got that right." I feel like I'm going to boil out here. Suddenly, I got goosebumps all over my body. Felt like something bad was about to happen, for no reason. Everyone gets this feeling in different ways. I get it whenever I play this game. Some people get a twitch in their eyelids or some kind of movement in their ears. In my case, I get goosebumps. Satoko was supposed to be cooking dinner tonight. We didn't have much inside the refrigerator, so I asked her to go grocery shopping. I was just watching TV and relaxing while I waited for her. She was usually back by the time my cartoon was over, after which she'd start cooking dinner. But my cartoon was over, the news had started, and Satoko wasn't home yet. Satoko sometimes waited until they had a sale at the store. In that case, she'd usually come home late. That must be what was happening. It was far too early for me to start worrying about her. But, I can't explain this feeling. I can't explain it, but I feel extremely worried. Once I started feeling like that, I couldn't just sit in the room and wait for her. Hanyu? Hanyu? Where are you? Thought she might know where Satoko might be, but she's never around when I need her. Hanyu isn't with me 24 hours a day. She sometimes falls asleep, and sometimes she goes out for walks. Though in her case it's not a walk, but more like a stalk. She follows people around when she finds someone interesting, and she enjoys observing them. Anyway, I had no choice. I'd have to find Satoko on my own. I had a good idea of which stores Satoko goes to. I should check in those first. This is all new to me, by the way. I've never read the manga of this, nor have I seen the anime, so this is all new. We're in Hinamizawa. Given that this is a retelling of episode 3, I'm guessing it's because the uncle's come back, also because he was just mentioned, but if I ask people, they tell me where she went. Hello there, Rika. It's a blessing to see you here. Nipa, did Satoko come here by any chance? I hadn't seen Satoko. I've been out here all day, so I would have seen her if she was here. I didn't even have time to say thanks. I ran to the next door. People were greeting me and waving at me. I'd usually smile and greet them back, but I had no time for that at the moment. Satoko, Satoko, Satoko. I need Satoko in my life. I was able to survive for so long because of her support. Without her, this world would be so empty and boring. Satoko is nonchalant and optimistic, unlike me. I've learned so many things from her over the past 100 years, but I still need to learn more from her. Satoko, Satoko. People stared at me as I ran by them, screaming out her name. I didn't care what they thought, though. Satoko, Satoko, Satoko. Why are they looking at me like that? I'm looking for Satoko. Somebody tell me where she is. My heart was convulsing inside my body like a fish out of the water. What little stamina I have. I hate my body for being so young. You know, the store in the corner always has a house sale in the evening. She might be there. I went to a few different places, but I couldn't find her anywhere. The people I talked to gave me advice on where to go, but I couldn't find her in any of the places they suggested. I continued to run, looking for her. I continued to run even when I bumped into people. I don't know. I had so many customers, I can't remember. There are only a few places of Hinamazawa where we can go grocery shopping. Shouldn't be that difficult to find us, so why couldn't I? I tripped on something in the street and fell flat on the ground. Ow. I injured my hand on a small rock embedded in the ground. I didn't feel much pain even though I said ouch. I just felt hot as if I'd touched a frying pan. Suddenly someone handed me a pretty handkerchief. Are you okay? Did you get hurt? Raina, did you see Satoko anywhere? Raina was carrying a grocery bag. I've heard that Satoko bumps into Raina often when she goes grocery shopping. They tend to choose the same stores. Satoko? No, I didn't see her today. Was she out grocery shopping? Yes. You didn't see her? No, I didn't. But there's no way she would have missed a big sale at the market today. I was there, but I didn't see her. My brain wasn't getting enough oxygen. It took me a while to understand what Raina was talking about. I understood that Raina didn't see Satoko, but that wasn't the point. They had a huge sale in the market today. There's no way that Satoko would miss that sale. But she still didn't see her there? What was that supposed to mean? What happened? Did she leave her wallet at home or something? Well, I couldn't find the right words to explain. Should I tell her I feared that something bad happened to Satoko and that's why I was looking for her? No, I couldn't do that. Couldn't think too deeply about why she hadn't returned home. What's wrong? Can't I help out? Talk to me. I knew she was just trying to help me. I even thought I needed someone to help me just a few moments before. But now that she was here, I had no idea what I was supposed to say. No, that's not it. The truth is, I know. Somehow, I know. I wouldn't have to know if I was somebody else. But I have to know this. Rika Frode has to know what's going on. I know it. I remember it. I knew this was coming. I've experienced a world before where Satoko suddenly disappeared, but the possibility for that happening is as low as Akasaka showing up in Hinamazawa. It only happened randomly in my other lives. This is not the first time. It happened before, too. I should see it for myself. I needed to see if I'd gotten stuck inside a devastating world again. Will you talk to me? I'm sorry. Goodbye. Hey, Rika! I started running. I couldn't pretend like I didn't know where she was. Please don't tell me I was blessed only up until this point, that I'm about to fall back into my unfortunate fate from here on. I thought this world was different. I thought I could move on to a happy future. I thought I would be able to defeat my deadly fate in this life. But this was just horrible. It was horrible that this was happening to this world. I was standing in front of the place that I hate the most in Hinamizawa. Yes, it's Toko's real home, the Hojo residence. I've been living with her since last autumn, so this house was empty. In the beginning, she used to come back here to pick up clothing and other necessities, but once she moved most of her stuff to my house, she stayed away from this place. This was a sad place for Satoko, because all she could remember of it was the horrible time she spent with her aunt and uncle and the memory of her missing brother, Satoshi. That's why she never wanted to come back here. But that wasn't the reason I hate the house. It's because I know what happens whenever this house becomes an issue in my life. God, please, please bless me with just one more fortune. I closed my eyes and prayed, then I slowly opened them. The window was open on the second floor. I saw a faded curtain swinging inside. As soon as I saw that, my knees realised what was going on, even before my mind processed it. Yep. In the next moment, I lost strength from my legs and collapsed on the ground. I saw an unfamiliar motorcycle parked by the house. I also saw a laundry and a futon hanging outside. I was certain that someone was living here. It was proof that someone was living inside this house. It's never good when there's someone living inside this house. This is very, very bad. I knew exactly why. I knew why, but I felt like I wanted to act like I didn't know. Rika? Satoko? Satoko went outside to take the futon in and noticed me. Rika. Satoko looked down and forced herself to smile. I felt so sad. It wasn't just her expression. I could tell that her left cheek was red and swollen. Stoko, don't stay here. Let's go home. I took her hand, but she still looked down without squeezing back. Rika, I think I'm going to go back to this house. Why? My uncle came back, and he told me we should live together in this house. I know that's not what you want. You don't want to live with your mean uncle. But I have no choice. If I go back to your house, he'll come and get me. I don't want to cause any trouble for you. She gave up with a sad smile. She looks exactly how she looked 1 year ago in 1982. Her uncle nearly slapped her face, and she's back to being this Toko from 1982. Okay, now I've got to put another content warning on there. Cheerful Stoko that I knew until yesterday could no longer be found. I took care of Stoko and tried to heal her wounded heart for over a year. She finally got her smile back, but her uncle took it all away with just one slap to her face. A broken soul can recover over time, while a damaged heart can never be fixed completely. I just took the broken pieces and put them back together. The cracks in her heart would always be there. That's why she wouldn't come with me, no matter how hard I tried to pull her hand. She couldn't get over the fear. She knew just how scary her uncle could be. Stoko, the hell you doing? Better not go anywhere. I heard a disgusting voice from inside the house. Stoko stared at the ground. Her shoulders were shaking. Huh? Who the hell is this? He came out and stood right behind her. It's nothing. I just bumped into my friend. Don't care. Go inside and clean the bathtub. Want to take a bath, you idiot? Stoko scampered back inside the house like a terrified small animal. I feel devastated as I watch her go. Were you asking her out to play? I'm sorry, but she's busy taking care of chores. I'm her uncle. Been out for a while on a business trip. I'm finally back in the village, you know? Liar. He only showed back up because his lover went missing. In another world, I once let my hatred out on him, but then he inflicted that anger in equal turn onto Stoko, so I couldn't allow the dark flame burning within my chest to reflect on my eyes. Since I couldn't make myself smile and I couldn't insult him, all I could do was give him a short bow and run away from the scene. You're intimidated by my scary face, huh? Haha. I heard his hideous laughter from behind me. I cried as I ran away. I couldn't stop crying. I thought this was a perfect world up until today. Why was God doing this to me? It was too cruel. But I couldn't give up yet. I couldn't do anything, but I still had hope for this world. I didn't think the luck I had until yesterday was just a random thing. I went back to my house in a hurry. I needed to make a phone call. I didn't know the number because it was my first time calling the place. I looked inside the phone book and found it easily. I made a call to that number. Oh, hello? Didn't expect to get a call from you, Miss Frude. What can I do for you? I already knew that Oishi could never save Stoko, based on what I've seen in my previous lives. For him, Stoko's only a good way to get at the Samasaki family. Her uncle is probably his prey in that regard too. Even if I talked to him about her situation, he'd do nothing to save her. The only thing he'd tell me would be to call the Child Consultation Center. I want to talk with Akasaka. Is he there? Akasaka? He went to the hot springs in Wakura with his wife. Wakura? That's not anywhere near here. Thought he was staying here until Minagoroshi. I heard he's going to stay in a hotel owned by a relative of his. Wish I could go too. What? You want to know where Wakura is? It's in the Ishikawa prefecture, on the Noto Peninsula. No way. He told me he was staying here until Minagoroshi. Thought he meant he was staying in Hinamizawa, but did he actually mean this area of the country in general? Can you get a hold of him somehow? That was a meaningless question. There's no way I could get him to come here while he's enjoying his trip with his wife. Even if I can talk to him on the phone, he'll probably only tell me to call the Child Consultation Center or something. I don't know where he's staying. It's a very famous luxury hotel, so I can make a pretty good guess. But I'm sure they won't give me the room number, since they're strict about customer privacy these days. Okay then. Did Akasaka tell you he was coming to the Minagoroshi festival? Yes, he did. He's coming back here after the hot springs. They stayed here for only one night and then left for the Noto Peninsula. I'm sure they'll be back before the day of the festival. He said he'd be back with a souvenir for you. How terrible. I thought it was too good to be true. I knew it was kind of strange for him to stay in a boring place like this. My luck seems to be turning. This might not be a surprise though. Just like I can roll 6 3 times in a row, I can roll a 1 3 times in a row too. Happy things and unhappy things can happen with equal probability. Hello? If you want to leave a message, I'll take it for you. I looked at the calendar on the wall. I didn't know when he was coming back, but I was certain he wouldn't be for at least 1 more week. I thought back to the past to try and remember what happened. That guy will break Stoko apart in a week. Couldn't wait that long. I had to give up on seeking help from Akasaka. Well, that's okay. I still had one more option. One more person I could rely on. No, that's alright. Thank you for your help. Reaper? I hung up the phone after thanking him. I couldn't make a phone call to the next person. I'd have to talk to him in person. I put my shoes on and headed to the Irie clinic. The clinic's hours were over for the day. There was usually no one here after that. However, since Tomitake was here, they should still be inside the building for a meeting. They had to be there. The front door of the clinic was locked, as I'd expected. I went around to the back door and rang the bell. The whole clinic is nervous when Tomitake is around. They usually ignore visitors, but I'm special. What's wrong? I heard you had an emergency. You need me to? That doesn't sound good. Irie and Takano showed up soon after I was taken to the visitors' room. If Rika Furude has an emergency, it's a priority for these two. I'm the most important person in this village. Could it be someone's trying to get you? You are protected at all times by the elite security of the mountain dogs. They've been watching you since the day we made that promise. I had no doubt about that. They saved me right away when we had that confrontation with those 3 delinquents the other day. That's not it. I have a favour to ask. I want you to save Satoko from danger. What happened to Satoko? Irie doesn't have that much power alone, even if he really wants to save her. But Takano controls the mountain dogs, so she does have that power. In my previous lives, I was never able to get help from the mountain dogs because I wasn't on good terms with Takano. But this world is different. I have a better relationship with her in this life, and she even kept the promise she made. I trust her ability to completely now. Teppei Hondro is back? Horrible. It was mainly Satoko's aunt who was abusing her last year, but Irie knows that her uncle was violent with her too. I told them Satoko had gone back to the same condition she was in the previous year. I don't know what will happen. I need you to help me save Satoko. Irie seemed to want to do something for her, but he didn't know exactly what to do. What should we do? Should we call the police and let them know? I don't know about that. At the moment, it's not like anything serious has happened, is it? But it's only a matter of time. Something bad is going to happen if we don't do anything. I hate to say it's only a matter of time. I knew how she was going to get abused and how she was going to end up. I've seen it in the past. I really wanted to tell them about it, but I couldn't do that. As it hasn't happened in this world yet, they just think I was imagining it. I think you should call the Child Consultation Centre first. I remember, Satoko made a false report to the Child Consultation Centre once. Wonder if they take her seriously. The answer is no. My friends contacted the CCC several times in the past, but Satoko always refuses their help. She claims she isn't being abused. The Satoko from 1983 might have asked for the help, but currently she was 1982 Satoko. For her, living with her uncle reminds her of the time when Satoshi was around. She feels like Satoshi will come back if she can live strongly, without always relying on him. Even if the CCC were to take the case seriously, it's just too late. Trying to remember. The most recent one I experienced only took a few days after Satoko was kidnapped by her uncle. Only took a few days for him to tear her heart apart. We had no time to waste. We need to take action quickly. We can't really do anything unless she seeks help. I think Dr. Irie can call the police, but that's about it. I'm very sorry. That's not it. I want you to help her, Takano. Irie and Takano looked shocked and both went quiet. They didn't expect me to seek help from Takano. You mean you want us to take a bolder action? I'm here to ask for that. I wouldn't be here this late otherwise. I understand, but Irie, if you truly cherish Satoko, then please, just listen to me this once. Please save her. In less than a few days, she'll end up in a really horrible shape. That's already guaranteed. If you try and wait and see how things go, it'll be no different than watching her die. Have you forgotten how Satoko was last year, Irie? She's already reverted to that state, right this very second. In a few more days, it'll be too late to do anything. All I could do was stare at him. Believing that Irie could see the future only I knew, the tragic end awaiting Satoko reflected in my eyes. Irie remained silent for far too long a time to call brief. Someone trying to think of some excuse to avoid the issue wouldn't go silent that long. He was recalling Satoko's terrible state last year and seriously considering if my plea was as urgent as I made it out to be. Shakes Irie like, yes it is! I know that he really cares about her. That's why I need his help. What should we do? Irie nodded and looked up. I guess he finally came to a conclusion. I just hope it's a positive one. Mr. Kano, please do what Rika wants you to do. Okay. I remember how hopeless I felt when I couldn't do anything to save Satoko last year. I want to take this chance to save her this time. But, Doctor... Takano didn't think that Irie would make that decision. She seemed shocked to hear his response. I'd like to ask you as director of the clinic, please help Satoko. Dr. Irie, what do you mean when you say to help her? Please calm down. Satoko is very important to us. She has greatly contributed to our research for a long time. Protecting her is considered one of your work orders. Irie continued, though Takano tried to persuade him. Kyosuke Irie is asking you, as your boss, please save Satoko. I stared into Takano's eyes together with him. I thought you and Satoko were friends. Please help her as a friend. Help her, huh? It's a hypocritical way of saying it. You're not telling me to kidnap her and lock her up somewhere safe. You want me to help her so she can have a normal, happy life. In other words, you want her uncle dead, right? You have the right to make the ultimate decision of how you're going to save her. But if you don't want to, I don't mind making that decision. I guess this is how Rika gets the jabs she uses at other points. A lot of what I'm making here is extrapolating the current situation to explain past things we didn't know. So in chapter 5, Rika has a jab that she uses to try and deal with Shion that instead gets turned on her, and I'm guessing she gets that job from here? I'm still on the guessing. Dr. Irie, no, Section Chief. If you carry out an order, both you and I will be responsible for it. Are you sure you're ready for that? I looked at his face. Unlike me, Irie has many things to lose. I knew that Takano's words would shake him emotionally. However, Irie was determined. Yes, that's fine. Even if I'm called forward to defend my actions, that's better than betraying my own heart. An impressive show from someone who doesn't know what a hearing's like. If you do it quietly, they may not find out about it in Tokyo. Everyone will be happy that way. All risk, no reward. If you want, I'll show you more treasures in the shrine. I never restrict you from seeing those things, so please help me. The risk she's taking is larger than the reward I'm offering, but that's about the only thing I can offer her. I don't care about the traditions of the Swedish shrine, as long as I can save my friend from suffering. Fine. I don't want to be the bad guy here. She forced a smile and accepted the favour I asked her for. Thank you, Takano. I want you to make the decision of how to save her. I will have a meeting with Okanogi later to plan out the mission. Not later, it has to be now. She promised to save Satoko, but she still wasn't motivated for him. It'd be too late if she didn't do something now. I tried to make Takano understand that this is an urgent matter. That's right. Rika and I want to see some kind of result now. I'm sorry for asking at this time, but please can you contact them now? Guys are so passionate about her. Okay. What's the dialogue there? Might take a few minutes. Thank you very much. No problem. It's an order from my boss. I'll do whatever I can. Just don't forget that promise you made, Rika. I promise. I'll even serve you some rice cakes and tea when you come to the shrine. Takano smiled slightly and left the room. Once we finally heard her footsteps fade away, the tension in the room dissolved. Irie offered me something to drink, but I refused. He must have thought everything was taken care of, but I couldn't relax until Satoko was physically returned to me. Irie, does she have enough medication with her? Her uncle will keep her locked inside the house, so she won't be able to come here for a while. Fortunately, I gave her a stock of medicine and needles last week. She should be fine for a while. However, her mental state can't be controlled by the medication. If she gets too stressed, that can really cause some damage. That will happen within a few days. Takano hadn't come back yet. I thought it would be bad news if she came back too early, but I started feeling nervous after she'd taken so long. Irie insisted I go home because it was getting late. I couldn't go home and relax, however, until I heard from her that everything was taken care of. I had to wait for her to come back. I needed to deal with this tension until then. Over an hour later, Takano finally returned. I'm sorry it took so long. How did it go? She was looking for the right words. I got a very bad feeling from her reaction alone. Fortunately, it won't go as easy as we hoped anymore. Why is that? There was a murder case in Okanomiya not too long ago. Police suspect Teppei Hojo's involvement in the crime they have unmarked. A murder case? What do you mean? Some woman named Mamiya laid her hands on the Sonozaki family's earnings and was murdered to serve an example. Apparently, the police have taken an interest in the relationship between the Hojos and the Sonozakis. Turns out that woman was Teppei Hojo's lover. Minagoroshi is getting closer too. The police want to prevent the fifth curse for Oyashi's summer this year, so they marked Teppei Hojo as the candidate for this year's victim and started casting their lines. What do you mean by lines? They suspect they can be the true culprit behind Oyashi's summer's curse if they keep their eyes on Hojo. So, you mean... Rika, I'm very sorry, but the mountain dogs can't do anything to him until the police start spying on him. I don't know why she's gone into whisper mode suddenly rather than my previous, airy-fairy voice. No, I thought the mountain dogs could perform any mission no matter how difficult. That's only when we plan it out carefully with extensive preparation. Usually we take a long time to observe the target and we look for the right opportunity. It can take between 6 months and 1 year for a mission like this. Remember, we are a secret organisation. We must remain out of the spotlight. If our secret is revealed, everything is over. It's too risky for us to target someone like him. Then when is the right opportunity coming? It will be after the Watanagashi at the earliest. After the festival, the police will stop watching him. But that would be too late. She's saying it'd be after Watanagashi. Didn't even know if that was a day after or a year after. She also said it usually takes at least 6 months to prepare this kind of mission. It's too long. I thought this world was different, but that hope was slipping through my fingers. So how can we save Satoko? I think it's best to follow the rules. We should report this to the police or the CC soon. We can even talk to the school. I did that so many times, but it never worked. Iria and Takano were surprised. They'd never expected me to raise my voice. In fact, I didn't think myself that I'd react this way. But I couldn't keep my emotions in check after Takano suggested all those meaningless solutions. I've cooperated with you guys all this time. I never asked for anything and I just give you my support. But now you can't save Satoko? With all that power you have, why are you so afraid of saving her? Police and public services are useless. You guys only take advantage of us and never actually help. Fine, I get it now. I know now that this world is nothing but a dead end. I'm not interested in you guys anymore. I don't care about this world anymore. That's right, I can never escape my fate. It's the same old fate that I keep on repeating. You just burn to death in the mountains. You just take taking pills and commit suicide. I'll die just like I always do too. I'll lose my life without knowing how I'm killed. This life is nothing but a dead end. I was born to be killed in this world. Die, everyone, die. There's no meaning to this world anymore. I just expect she's crying, but I can't imitate her crying. I can't put words to my emotions anymore and I started to cry. I was so lucky up until yesterday. I had so much hope in my heart, but it had all been for nothing. I felt like everything was falling apart. I'd lived for more than 100 years. I'd lived longer than a normal human lifetime. I thought I was blessed with good fortune for the first time in my life. This would never happen to me again. I thought a miracle had occurred, but everything was shattered. I cried and cursed this world. I needed to give up on my life as soon as possible. Satoko would be waiting for me with a smile on my next one. I wanted to go and see her, but what would happen to the Satoko in this world? What would happen if I abandoned her? I didn't know and I didn't care. Satoko, Satoko, Satoko. I'm a witch who has lived for 100 years, but I still couldn't rid myself of the human emotions in my heart. I didn't get anything to eat because Satoko was supposed to be making dinner tonight, but I didn't have an appetite anyway, so I figured I should just go to bed. I still had to make lunch for the next day though. Satoko might come to school tomorrow. I rinsed the rice, hoping I wouldn't have to waste the lunch that I was making for the two of us. I had to stop thinking like that. I already knew it was a waste to make a lunch. I already knew that Satoko wasn't coming to school ever again. I felt so miserable while rinsing the rice, that tears started dropping into it as I thought about her. Why was this happening in this world? I thought everything changed when Keiichi gave that doll to Mion. In that world, Mion pretended to be her sister for a week and got closer to Keiichi. But that wasn't happening this time. I thought we'd be having a good time until the festival. Huh? That's odd. Wasn't that club activity 2 weeks before Watanagashi? I'd realised something. The club activity was exactly the same, but it happened 1 week earlier than in the world I know of. It was 1 week earlier than in my previous life. I get it now. I thought I was familiar with this world, but it was actually a different one where events mixed up. That means that even though Keiichi gave the doll to Mion, that didn't solve everything. I thought I was getting lucky. I was confident that everything was going to be okay. I stopped making an effort. I knew there was a possibility that Satoko's uncle was coming back, but I let her go do the grocery shopping. I would have been more careful and kept her home if I knew he was coming back to get her. I should be careful in my next life. There wouldn't be a next life that was so fortunate. I didn't get lucky that often. Even if I locked Satoko inside the closet, it would be Ona if Reina's father messed up something or Keiichi lost his mind. I have to clear up everything that's not within my reach, and I also have to make the best effort I can. Without that, I can't overcome the fate of 1983. Like that there's basically the options of something bad happens to one of the characters, so Keiichi loses his mind, or the Mion/Shion conglomerate go the bad way instead of the good way, or the uncle comes back, or Rika goes into paranoid mode after her The father's girlfriend fucks things up. Poor Rika. I feel really bad for her. In this life, I may be able to overcome my deadly fate with Kana's help, but Stoko will not be there in my future. That defeats the whole purpose. My goal is to survive this year while laughing with my best friends. Somebody tell that. I say this every stream. I've got a view of like a lot of my neighbours, like a big chunk of the next building, and somebody turned the light off in the kitchen, and then I was staring out the window into the darkness, and I saw the movement out of the corner of my eye, and it made me jump. Hello, person staring out the window. I'm looking directly at you. I don't want to sacrifice Satoko in order to survive. I don't want to live in a world without her. I was blessed with all those fortunes, but I still couldn't defeat my destiny. I ruined everything because I stopped working so hard. I'll never again have a lucky life like this. I lost my first and only chance. I cried and scratched at the floor. I don't know if I should curse my fate or curse myself for not putting forth enough effort. Before I realised it, Hanyu was standing in front of me. I didn't know how long she'd been there. She just stared down at me with a look of pity on her face. Hanyu, I know what you're trying to say. You want to tell me that you told me not to get my hopes up. There's no way I wouldn't get my hopes up, with it being the first time I was blessed with so many fortunate circumstances. I believed that everything would go well, but you were always telling me not to expect too much. She probably felt something strange at the toy store that day. She realised the date was 1 week off, and this was not the same old world that I knew. She'd realised early on that I still shouldn't be too excited about this life. I've been with you for a long time, so let me tell you this first before you ask me. I couldn't predict what fate held for us today either. The only advice I can give you is this. Fate in this world is as fickle as the weather, nothing more than a trifle unworthy of joy or sorrow. There are 6 sides on a die. That's the reality of it, and it doesn't mean that 6 is the best number either. I should just take any number that I roll. I shouldn't be disappointed if I roll a 1 a few times in a row. It's pathetic how I felt rolling a die was the best result. 6 rather was the best result you could obtain. I still have many things to learn, even though I've been living for more than 100 years. I told you several hundred times that this world is not a miracle. If you wait patiently, you will come across a real miracle someday. How many decades am I supposed to wait patiently? How many centuries do I have to wait? We don't have much power left anymore. I don't think we can go back to a time before June of 1983. The amount of time we can rewind keeps decreasing. You're telling me to just repeat that short amount of time for years? I almost lost my mind when I was repeating a few years over and over again. But you're telling me to repeat 1 or 2 weeks for years until the miracle happens? That's impossible. I was betting on this world. I bet all of my coins on this one world. And I lost. I lost all of my coins to this fate. I have no more coins left in my heart. These coins are known as hope. I have no coins left to hope for my dreams to come true. Oh, Rika. I lay on the floor as if I collapsed. The floor should have been cold, but I didn't feel anything. I lost all of my hope. I always thought people could survive as long as they had some bread and water. But that's not right. People can't live without hope. People can survive because they believe that something good will happen to them eventually, as long as they keep on living. But that's just for normal people who don't know what awaits them in their future. There is no such hope for a witch like me. I don't care about anything anymore. I don't care about this life and I don't care about the next. I just want to disappear and turn to ash. Oh, Rika, please don't say that. Rika. Hanyu's voice gradually fades away. I slowly lost my senses as I lay down on the kitchen floor and let myself sink into the darkness. I dragged my body to school, hoping Satoko might be there. But just as I expected, there was no one sitting in her seat. I felt all the more devastated just seeing it empty. I had nothing left to bet on. All I could do was get hurt and suffer devastation. Blood flowed from my broken heart and found its way out through my eyes in the form of tears. Is something wrong, Miss Rude? Is Hiro absent today? The whole class was wondering why I came in late today and why Satoko wasn't with me. But even if I felt sympathy from everyone's eyes on me, I didn't feel any promise from them. No one here was able to save Satoko. No one. No one could save her. Why should I have to keep smiling at all these useless people? This world is finished anyway. If I leave matters alone, then a few days after the Minagoroshi festival, my movie will be cut as I murdered like usual and I'll return to the beginning of this month again. And so I continued to live forever in June 1983. Trapped here, even death won't set me free from that prison. Miss Rude, please talk to me if something happened. Where is Miss Hojo? Is she sick? Shut up. Whole class gasped. No one expected Rika Frude to talk like that. I myself made such blunt statements a few times in several passwords, but it was always the first time anyone in that world had had anything like that. Must have been very easy for them, and I envied it. Miss Frude. Chia was standing there dumbfounded. I stood up from my seat. If Soko wasn't around, I didn't want to be locked up inside of this humid place. I'm going home. I'm not coming here anymore. Goodbye. Felt like saying something like that. However, I retained the small hope that Stoko might go to school the next day, so I kept it to myself. However, Chie wouldn't let me go. She grabbed me by the arm and dragged me to the teacher's office instead. Chie told me to take a seat on the couch by the principal's office. She had no right to tell me what to do. I could just escape through the open window. As I didn't have that kind of energy, however, I sat on the couch as she told me to. I realised then that I didn't even have the energy to be rebellious. Maybe Satoko felt the same. She lost the energy to rebel, and so she was simply obeying her uncle. Miss Rude, please tell me what's going on. I'm sure I can help you. Chia spoke to me, but I already knew that her words were empty. All she could do was call the CCC. She wouldn't go to the Hojo residence and pull Stoko out of there. So there was no point in even discussing the topic with her. If I told her, she wouldn't keep it to herself, and shortly everyone would know about what was happening with Stoko. That would only result in chaos. If they call the CCC, the staff from there will go and visit her. Her uncle will deny the abuse, and Stoko will also deny it because of the guilt she feels over Satoshi leaving. Shortly after, they'll find out about the false reports Stoko made before, and they'll decide not to proceed any further. Her uncle will allow Stoko to go to school for a few days, but his abuse will get worse because he thinks she's the one who called the CCC. He'll do horrible things to her, just like her aunt did last year. Calling the CCC will not help Stoko. It will instead put her in an even worse situation. It's better not to notify them at all. But if we don't report it, then how else is this world supposed to improve? No, nothing's going to change. There's nothing that can be done once this unfortunate fate overtakes Toko. You say, words. You say Miss Hojo's uncle is back. Is that true? I'd somehow answered all of Chia's questions without noticing. I knew that nothing would change whether I spoke to her or not, so I just told her everything, because I had no energy to rebel. I understand what's going on now. This is horrible. So, now that you know what's going on, what can you do? Chia answered right away without faltering, already used to my spiteful tone. I will visit her house today. I need to see Satoko and talk to her first. Then, if there's a problem, you're going to call the CCC, right? They have it on record showing she made false reports in the past. They'll never do anything unless there's proof of abuse. They're just like the police who don't start investigations until after someone's dead. They won't do anything unless Satoko is killed. When that happens, this is what both the school and the Child Consultation Centre will say. We never saw this coming. She was such a bright girl. They just repeat the same words as if they were scripted. People are idiots. I believe that the people from the centre will do something about it. I'll make sure to tell them that she needs help. I've done the same in previous lives too. I wasn't denying her passion, but I couldn't say there was meaning to it. Problem wasn't with Chie. Problem was with them. No matter how hard Chie tried to seek help from the child services, they're not nothing as long as they held biased notions about Stoko. It doesn't matter if they find proof of abuse or not. I suddenly heard a voice from the hallway. It was Shion's voice. Chie shouted, "Who's there?" and I heard Mion gasping, "Crap!" They must have been listening to our conversation. They're having a quiet discussion outside the door, but Shion accidentally raised her voice. She gets so violent sometimes. 4 people entered into the room from the hallway. Mion, Shion, Keiichi, and Reina. I told you to stay in class. Go back to the classroom. We can't, not in this situation. What are you going to do if something happens to Satoko? Do you want to be responsible for that? There's no time to waste. You have to do something right now. My sister's saying things will get worse unless there's some kind of proof of abuse, but it's too late, way too late once there is. Do you want to see Satoko dead, Mion? That's not what I'm trying to say. Like I told you, Satoko once made a false report to the abuse hotline, and they have that record at the CCC. Without proof, they won't investigate her case any further. Just think about what that means. It'll only make her uncle more furious. The Satoko situation will get even worse. The hell? We're supposed to help her before something happens, right? They're really not going to do anything unless she's seriously injured? Calm down, you two. I feel the same as Shion and Keiichi. I don't want to wait till something bad happens, but we need to think about what we can do. What can we do? Talk to the CCC, right? We had the guarantee that help her would be fine, but Neon, you're saying it's highly likely they'll put her case on hold, right? Yeah, unfortunately that's what I think they'll do, just like last year. On top of that, she was in an even worse situation then. They put a case on hold even though Satoko was already in horrible shape. This time, it's only been a day since her uncle took her away, plus her uncle has legal custody of her. I don't need to be so roundabout. All you have to do is ambush that bastard and kill him. Shion, you can't do that. Satoshi wouldn't want that. Then how should we save Satoko? Satoshi entrusted me. He trusted me to look after her. If anything happens to her, I can never face him again. Having our hands tied until after Satoko's been thoroughly abused isn't an option. When a crime is taking place right before your eyes, is reporting it the first thing you do? No, it isn't. You stop it. We have to stop this ourselves. Calm down, Shion. You're the head of the Samzaki family, aren't you? Use your power to save Satoko. You can do it, can't you? You have enough power to save her. I know. The Hank's policy is to stay completely out of Hojo affairs because of a grudge over the dam conflict, right? No matter what happens to Satoko, the Samzaki main branch intends to ignore it, don't they? Neither the CCC or the Samzaki family can save her. I have to do it on my own. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna kill that pig. I'm gonna do it right now. It's not gonna take me more than 1500 seconds for me to get to her house and stab him to death. What can you do in 1500 seconds? Can't do anything, can you? I'm going to do it. I'm going to help her. Let me go. I'm going to kill him right now. Shion, settle down. Stop saying that or you're going to get in big trouble. They were desperately discussing how to save her. I feel really bad because I cannot put emotion into my voice because I don't know how to. So just imagine you're reading this but it was read by somebody who actually, like, can do voices and shit. And is able to display their emotion out loud. I just sat on the couch and stared at them vaguely. I'd seen the same discussion many times, in many different situations. I was tired of listening to it. The only difference was that everything was happening a few days earlier than usual. Rika, it's okay. I'm not going to expect anything good anymore. I don't have any hope left in my heart. And you made a sad expression. I couldn't tell if she was sad about our fate or if she was taking pity on me. Just as you promised, Chie went to Satoko's house after school. Oops, click back in the game. It had only been a day since Satoko's uncle took her away. She wouldn't be able to tell if he'd hurt her already or not. If the students had made such a big fuss about it, Chie would have waited a couple of days before going to her house. She already knew, however, about what happened to Satoko the previous year. She also knew that her uncle was abusing her just like Aran, and that he'd neglected to act as a guardian for the whole year. Considering those factors, it might not have been too soon for her to visit the Hojo residence. Satoko hadn't shown up in school that day. No one called the school to explain her absence. That alone was proof her uncle wasn't taking responsibility as her guardian. Chie was going to her house to see what was going on with her own eyes. She parked the car on the street and checked the map she bought from the school. It said Hojo residence on the sign in front of the house. Chie was certain this had to be the place. The window on the second floor was open and she could see a curtain hanging there. From that window she could hear the laughing voices of several older men. No one had answered the phone when she called right before leaving the school. She could also hear the clicking noise of mahjong tiles along with the voices. She'd never played mahjong before, but had a pretty good idea that was it from the way the men were talking. If they were playing mahjong, there must have been 3 other men inside the house. Her students had told her that Satoko's uncle was a very violent man. Chie was a teacher, true, but she was also just a young lady. She felt hesitant to ring the doorbell after hearing their disgusting laughter. But courage drove her forward. She made her decision and rang the doorbell. She heard the bell ring inside the house, but the laughing voices continued to echo from the second floor. It seemed as though they didn't hear the bell. She rang the bell again and this time they'll have to stop for a moment. Someone must have heard the sound, but soon after they started laughing again. It didn't sound like anyone was coming to get the door. She thought someone heard the bell, but perhaps not. Chie was sure they were home, of course. She couldn't leave just because no one was answering the door. She knocked and yelled loudly this time. Hello? Are you home, Mr. Hojo? Finally the laughter stopped and the man with a scary look on his face opened the door. Who the fuck are you? Shut up and get the hell out of here. Chie felt intimidated by him, but her heart was filled with a teacher's pride and responsibility. Hello, are you Mr. Hojo? I am... Before she could introduce herself, Tepe screamed at her. Just shut up! Don't need no newspaper, no milk, no insurance. I'm busy right now. I'm working. People in the room laughed when he told her he was working. Chie wouldn't give up. She continued to speak. I'm the teacher at Hinamizawa Branch School. My name is Chie. Is Satoko Hojo here? Huh? What the hell? What do you want with Satoko? Came because she didn't come to school today. I wasn't able to get a hold of her, so I'm wondering what happened. Huh? School? Yes. Is she home? I need to talk with her. She's sick. That's right, she has a cold. Satoko is resting because she has a fever. I need to give her some handouts. May I please see her? Fucking idiot. Weren't you listening to what I just said? Stoko's sick. She's sleeping right now. Can't let you see her. I see. Do you think she can come to school tomorrow? Who knows? Won't know until then. Idiot. Ah, I see. Alright. Please tell her that I came by. Thank you. Che bowed, but by the time she lifted up her head, Tepe was no longer there. When Chie returned to the school, several students emerged from the classroom. They were Keiichi, Reina, Mion, and Shion. Rika was also inside the classroom, but she wouldn't come outside. Miss Chie, how did it go? You went to Stoko's house, right? You were all waiting for me? Miss Chie, how's Stoko doing? Was she okay? Well, I didn't get to see her. What the hell were you doing? You're a teacher, right? Came back just because you didn't let you see her? Stop it, Shion. That's about what we expected. I'm sure Stoko has a bruise on her face by now. That's why he didn't want you to see her. Should have just run into the house. Can't even trust you anymore. I'm sorry. Stop it, Shion. She did the best she could. Now we know for sure. Stoko's uncle definitely has her locked inside the house. We knew that from the start. Rika's been telling you all day today. We wasted half a day just to find out if that's true. How the hell do you think you can help Stoko? Calm down. Let's make a plan. We care about her just as much as you do. We're not going to abandon her. Let's come up with a way to save Stoko. I already gave you my opinion, didn't I? It's the best solution we have. I can handle it all by myself. I only need your help to hide his body. Stop it, Shion. Stop saying such violent things. Murder is a serious crime. It's the worst thing you can even think about. Then give me a different idea. My idea was wrong, then give me a different one, even if it's only a little bit better. Come on, come on. See, can't even say anything. I can save Stoko in 1500 seconds. I just drag his body to the swamp and dump him in there. Don't even need your help, sis. What's wrong? Why don't you come up with another idea? That's not the point. If you try and figure it out by yourself, that's all you'll think of. Let me tell you something. 1500 seconds? That's taking way too long. I would save it within 1000 seconds. If I were you, I'd just leave here silently and do what I want to do. Do you know why I'm not doing that? It's because someone told me once that even if it's the only option you have, murder is still something you should never do. It's not the right thing to do, and it's never the best thing either. I mean, that hasn't stopped you in the past, Reina, but okay. You just think it's the best solution because you're not thinking properly. A long time ago, I don't know who told me this, but someone taught it to me. If there's something that troubles you, you can't think about it all on your own. You can't think that your own solution is the best way to conclude things. We should all think about it together. If we all brainstorm, I'm sure we'll come up with a better solution. It's not about whether my idea is wrong or right. Just think about it. Every minute we waste puts Satoshi in more danger. Do you hate the Hojo family that much? No one is supposed to help Satoshi and Satoshi no matter how much they're struggling. I'm going to help her. Get her out of my way. Get out of my way. I'm leaving right now. I'm going to stab that loser and save Satoshi. No, Shion. Shion. You guys should curse yourselves. Curse your powerlessness. Fine, brainstorm for another idea. You'll never come up with one. Just go ahead and neglect her. You never really cared about Stoko. You only think of her as someone you can play with. But I'm different. She's more than just a friend for me. She's like my family. I care about her more than you guys do. I'm going to kill him now. Goodbye. Wait a minute. What is it? Are you trying to stop me? Shion, you're not understanding even half of what Rain is trying to tell you. What? I totally understand what she's saying. We can save her right away with just a little courage to murder him, but she's spouting hypocritical garbage to hide that fact. Shion, do you think Stoko would appreciate it if you saved her by committing murder? I'm not trying to seek her appreciation. I don't care what happens to me. Her happiness is all that matters. That's not right. You're talking tough, but I know you're scared. In fact, you asked Mion to help you hide the body. In other words, you want to have a normal life after killing her uncle. You want us all to be happy, just like a few days ago. You want us to be back where we were. But if you murder him, we'll never be like that again. Do you think you can really commit perfect crime? You'll be arrested for sure. I'm prepared to face that. If I could end Stoko's suffering by doing time behind bars, I'd gladly pay that price. No, that's absolutely not true. You would curse yourself, and I'd bet on that. You'd curse yourself and regret it, wondering how you drew the short straw and became a murderer. Then you'd finally realise what you really wanted. It wasn't killing her uncle. It was returning us all to our happy lives. Your wish will never come true if you commit murder. Keiichi says, knowing from experience, obviously. Stoko will also curse herself. She'll blame herself, thinking she's the reason Shion became a murderer. In fact, he's going to force Satoko to eat her squash if you get locked up. Who's going to talk about setting up mean traps with Satoko? You're supposed to do those things. Shion Sanozaki. You have to be by his side at all times. Don't kid yourself. What you're trying to do is not for Satoko. It's just a huge mistake. If that's what you're saying, do you have any idea for how to save her? You don't, do you? You're such a hypocrite. I said move. I'm killing him. I'm going to kill him now. Keiichi blocked her way by standing in front of the door. Shion gave him a hateful glare, but he just sent her back a confident smile. I can't let you go, Shion. The world we all long for doesn't exist without you. I'm not going to let you go. Is that so? It means you're siding with Hojo. You're just as guilty as he is. I'm going to bust your head open and kill you first. Hey, don't be stupid, Shion. Quit it already. Shion, what are you going to do with that chair? Stop it. Put that chair down. He doesn't understand that I'm serious. I have to show him how determined I am. Better get the hell out of my way now. Shion, I admit that right now I have no better idea. But that's just for the moment. I'm sure that we'll come up with a better idea eventually. I guarantee it. I promise you that we're going to save Satoko. So please, okay? Trust your friends. If you're afraid of committing murder for Satoko's sake, you're not my friend anymore. I'm not going to tell you this again. Get the hell out of my way. Calm down and think about what you're saying. We will save Satoko somehow. Just trust us. Don't try and look for a shortcut. Trust your friends. Trust me. I, Keiichi Maebara, am going to save Satoko for sure. You can bet on it. Shut up. Can't trust you. What do you think you can do for her? Shion. Shion threw the chair at Keiichi. It hit him hard and the chair fell to the floor with a loud noise. But Keiichi was unfazed even after being struck. He just stood in front of the exit without even covering his face. Wait, he wasn't unfazed. A trail of blood was falling from his forehead where the corner of the chair hurt him. It's nothing. You thought I'd move out the way? I'm not going to move from here even if you kill me. If I let you go, we might never see you again. Satoko will think about you every day and her heart will be filled with sadness. If that happens, there won't be anything we can do to make her happy. It's going to be a very sad life for her. I don't want Satoko to live in a sad world like that. The future that we want is a wild and riotous one, just like what we had until a few days ago. Of course, I won't let Satoko's uncle threaten her any longer. I haven't decided how I'm going to do it yet, but I will know soon. I promise. Please, just trust me. Shion wasn't yet convinced. I feel like the music's really loud. Hey. Audio leveling and I'm bad at it. Somebody rested a hand on Keiichi's shoulder. It was the principal. He'd been standing there and listening to him for a while. Principal. Well done. Miss Jay, I've heard what's going on. I'm sorry for being so powerless. I know it's only been a day, but I think this is an emergency. We should report this to the proper authorities. But sir, she's called the CCC before. They're not going to help her anyway. It's just a waste of time. Shion raised her voice. Principal looked at Shion and started talking. Shion Sanozaki, there's one word that I really don't like. Do you know what that is? It's what you just said. The anyway that came out of your mouth. That is the cruelest word, which means admitting defeat before you even fight. By the time you've uttered that word, you've already lost your battle. I agree with him. I think we should try various options. Calling the CCC should be first on the list. If that doesn't work, we can try our second and third options. Don't give up before you try. That's just as bad as not helping her at all. Principal, if you're reporting this, then you'll make sure to convince them that Satoko needs saving, right? Of course. Hojo is my precious student. I'll do my best so they will save her. They will try to take action as quickly as possible, so if we call now, they should get to her house later tonight. I hope they'll help her, but what if they put her case on hold? If that happens, we should come up with the next plan. As long as we don't give up, we can help her somehow. Whatever you guys say. Satoko is getting hurt as we speak. Who's the one abandoning her here? Shion, I just promised you. We are going to save Satoko, not by committing murder, but by saving her in a way that will make her happy. Got bad news for you! Certainly in a previous world at least, Keiichi, you committed the murder and she was not happy. She was very unhappy, in fact. You just watch us. I, Keiichi Maebara, am promising you this. Shion stared out the window without looking at Keiichi's face. I'll try and find out what the consultation centre decides tonight. I call everyone when I do. I hope they'll take her into custody. We can't be optimistic about this. I think there's a huge chance they'll put her case on hold. What are you going to do if that happens? If that happens, well, damn it. Miss Chie, let's go to the teacher's office. We need to make this cool. Yes, we need to make sure they really understand. They left the classroom. Keiichi, Reina and Mion got together and discussed their other options. Shion was looking down and crying. Rika was just vaguely looking at them as if staring at a boring TV drama. Nothing will change. The CCC will put a case on hold. I've seen it so many times in previous lives. I almost hope they'll take her into custody just this once, but I have no more coins left to gamble on a hope like that. In a previous life, Keiichi killed Toko's uncle, but Shion wasn't there when it happened. When she is, I suppose she's the one who takes on that role. The pathetic hopes will be crushed by tomorrow morning. The social worker will be at our house tonight, but Toko will kept relying on him. That's why she thinks she needs to handle it on her own without seeking anyone's help? It's ridiculous. According to the social worker, she didn't have any obvious injuries, so they think this isn't an urgent case. Seems she's being fed and she has a place to sleep too. Shouldn't that be a given? You're saying it's not abuse as long as she has something to eat and somewhere to sleep? That's how they view it, at least. In some cases, people refuse to even let the social worker come inside the house. Just because they're able to talk with their uncle tonight, they determined that it wasn't urgent. So after all that, they decided to wait and see. Bet Shion's disappointed. Yeah, just like how Satoko refuses to seek anyone's help because of Satoshi, Shion is also desperately trying to save Satoko because of him. She seems calm now, though, even though she's very upset. I know this isn't the time for complaining, but where the hell did Satoshi go? His sister's in danger. I have no idea where he is. I know, I'm sorry. I was hoping he would save her if he came back, but it's a waste of time to think about that. Can't hope for someone else to save her. We're the ones who will. That's right. We have to do what we can. I'm impressed with the power of the Samazaki family, though. You have information from the social worker already. Must have a spy in the centre. That's a national secret. So you know someone who knows a lot about the centre? Did they give you any idea of what we should do next? Well, I was advised to just stay calm and see what happens. What the hell? Did you talk to them about the situation she's in right now? Her uncle is locking her up and he's abusing her. Why should we just kick back and see what happens? Well, Keiichi, this is not my opinion, okay? I'm just telling you what I was told by my contact. See, it is true that Satoko didn't show up at school today, but it's just one day. It's not like she's been absent for weeks or months. We can't really deny the possibility that she has a cold. But she's being abused, saying that we should stay calm while she's being physically and emotionally harmed. Wait a minute, Keiichi, that's the whole point. We're concerned because we know what happened to her last year, but she wasn't hurt yesterday or today. We can't really prove if she's being abused or not. She may not have a bruise on her body yet, but it's only a matter of time. Besides, isn't abuse to force her to come back and live with him? Remember what we were talking about at school? It's normal for a legal guardian to take in the child under their custody. Can't definitely say that it's abuse yet, but we have to do something before it happens. I'm sorry for yelling at you. I knew that wasn't Mian's opinion, but it felt like she was telling me that, and I raised my voice. When I sensed dismay, I quickly apologised. I explained to my contact what happened to Satoko last year, but last year's case was resolved by waiting out too. Last year's abuse only stopped because of the fourth curse, right? It's not like CCC resolved it. Still, either way, both last year and now, the CCC doesn't think a case warrants that much urgency. Seems our opponent this time is that difference in urgency between us and them. I see. We've done what we can. Now we need to come up with a plan B. We should have a meeting tomorrow, with all the fearless members of our club. We've gone through worse than this before, we'll save her for sure. Yes! As we spoke, I felt less angry about the decision that the centre made. My throat hurts. Really bad. If we, get nearer to an hour and we're not anywhere near finishing the chapter, I may just finish halfway through. My throat really does hurt. It was something we expected anyway. I was being emotional for a while, but Mion wasn't taking it personally. She's usually a tough person, but I know that she feels very weak when something like this happens. I have to be careful not to get too emotional with her. Our enemy was Tepe. I couldn't yell at my friends just because I was frustrated. Good on you, Keiichi, finally learning some maturity. Only took you this long, but you can do it. I almost forget sometimes, but Mion is a girl. What's that got to do with it? There's no way yelling at her without cause wouldn't hurt her. I feel like yelling at anyone without cause would hurt them, so I think I have a tendency to lash out with my emotions sometimes. I definitely need to rein in that bad habit, especially during emergencies like this. All I could do by myself was probably the same thing Shion was suggesting earlier, but I knew it wouldn't make Satoko happy. We club members are fearless, but the power I possess is the smallest amongst us. That's why I needed to communicate with them. If we united, we'd be able to come up with a better plan. Definitely better than the previous option, which was very bad. I couldn't think of a plan all by myself. 3 heads are better than 1. We'd definitely figure something out. I'm going to call Rika now. Will you call Reina? Sure. Reina was a good match for Shion today. She impressed me a lot. She's tough when push comes to shove. Yeah, Reina is always reliable when we're in trouble. But you impressed me too, Keiichi. You were kind of cool today. Just kind of feel embarrassed now. Speech was a little corny, huh? I'm hanging up now. I'm sure Reina is waiting. Give her a call, okay? Yep. Say hi to Rika. I think she's been hurt the most by all this. Rika was looking at the ground with a depressed look on her face all day. My chest hurt just remembering it. Must be even more painful to look at Satoko. Mian hung up the phone. I also hung up and called Reina. She picked up the phone after 1 ring, which surprised me. Hello, Reina? You were waiting for the call, huh? Yes. I called you, but it was busy, so I didn't know what to do. Called me when I was talking with Mion. She's calling Rika now. She told me to call you. Let me explain to you what happened. Is the case on hold? Yeah, unfortunately. I'm upset, but that's what we expected. I can guess what they said. It's only been a day, so there's nothing definite. She may have missed school because she really had a cold today. Plus, she doesn't have any obvious injuries. Is my guess right? Did you put a bug on my phone? Yeah, you got it exactly right. It's total bullshit. It's only been a day of such a horrible phrase, isn't it? Especially since it'll be too late after he really hurts her. If he really does, then Stoko's injuries will be plain for everyone to see. But if that happens, her uncle will never let any social worker see her. And then they'll just say they couldn't find any signs of abuse and go back to waiting again. Such a huge contradiction, isn't it? Apparently they need court approval to force entry, but applying for that isn't easy. So our social workers may be supposed to have great legal power. In reality, their hands are tied and they can't act if the family turns them away. I've heard similar things as well. I had to undergo a bunch of I've completely forgotten the words that it's used for, but I'd go a bunch of training regarding this when I worked at a college. Even though our students were like 16 plus and I didn't really interact with the students very often unless I was on reception, you still have to do it, and it's still good knowledge to have. While social workers may be supposed to have great legal power, in reality their hands are tied and they can't act if the family turns them away. They're not the police. They're not the ones who storm in even if they have to break windows to do so. Damn it. Then who does have the right to break those windows? If we did, I'd smash them wide open. Anyway, they're not serious about this case. They have no idea what will happen to Stoko if we don't do anything about it. I've got to check the achievement for this week. Without the passion of the heart, she'll never be saved. This week, I say, instead of this chapter, because my brain is melted. I'm impressed. Wait, why? Just moved to the village not too long ago. You've only known her for just a few months. But you're so serious about saving her. Don't even know what happened to her last year. But you can imagine how hurt Stoko is right now. If you were an ordinary person, I'm sure you'd tell us. Just relax, it's only been a day. It's not that difficult to imagine how horrible it is for her. I also heard from you guys how terrible it was last year. There's no question this case requires immediate attention. That's still impressive. You stopped Shion when she tried to leave the classroom. What you said there was pretty deep. Do you think Stoko would appreciate it if you saved her by committing murder? Factually, no. It's not something an average boy would say. In fact, sorry, but I thought you were going to say something like what Shion suggested. That's Arena. She saw right through me to the core. To be honest, I was able to keep my calm because Shion caused that commotion. I too thought our only option was to kill him. What's there to hesitate about? Everything would be resolved if we went over and killed him right away. I thought those same things as myself. I really am going to have to stop sooner than the end of the chapter. I'm like losing mental faculties as we go. And then I thought about how I'd actually kill him. First I'd assault him with a metal bat or something. But before that I'd scope out his house and dig the hole to bury his body in ahead of time. When I imagined it, I envisioned myself actually digging a hole with a camping shovel in the woods. I repeated, "This is for Stoko, this is for Stoko," in my mind like a mantra, trying to forget the weight of the murder ahead. Things like, this is what I would do, but fun fact, it's actually all flashbacks. And you can see chapter 3 for that. I relived that, exhaustion and frustration. I could very clearly imagine myself standing there, soaking with sweat and covered in mosquito bites. Then I'm sure I called her uncle or something to lure him out the house and bludgeon him to death. Then I repeated my mantra, "This is for Stoko, this is for Stoko," blaming her for that serious crime as I tried to avoid my own guilt over committing murder. Did Stoko ask me to do that? Am I going to blame it all on her because I committed murder? Would she appreciate that? No, she wouldn't. I wouldn't be able to tell anyone I'd killed someone. No one would appreciate my deed, and I'd have to carry that burden for the rest of my life. That pathetic future was one I couldn't have imagined in the rush I felt before carrying out the murder. I decided to kill him so I could return us to happier times. But the act of murder also meant shattering the thin path that could lead us back there. I was able to imagine it that far ahead. That's why I didn't say it out loud like Shion did. If I hadn't thought that far, I probably would have joined Shion in shouting, "Kill him! Kill him!" It would have been really hopeless if you'd done that. I'm glad you have such a vivid imagination. I'm glad. Is that really just my imagination, though? Did I imagine killing her uncle in my mind? Could imagination alone really be that vivid? I could smell the earth, taste the scattered dirt flying into my mouth, see the pebbles scattering as I shoved my saddle down, and hear the roots cracking from its weight. The image was so real that it felt more like I'd actually done it in the past. That's right. It's important to imagine the consequences. Right. You don't want to grow up with no imagination. I think you'll grow up to be a calm, reasonable adult, KG. Surprised KG won't grow up at all. I wonder if that was only my imagination. I feel like I've been through a different life before. People with good imaginations can take a look at every possibility. If you really felt like you saw the future, I think it wasn't just your imagination. You saw a possible future that could have happened. In that imaginary world, the CCC put a case on hold too. Stoko came back to the school for a while, but she broke after only a few days. Stoko was bearing the abuse, but even after something small would be enough to break her. Just like an old bowl that has a crack in it, one day that crack will eventually widen and the bowl will shatter. In my imaginary world, Stoko broke when I rubbed her head. She thought my hand was her uncle's hand. She pushed me away and hid behind the curtain and cried out for her brother, saying, "Nini, Nini." He told you that she called her brother Nini. Huh? I don't know. I guess someone did. That's what she calls Satoshi, right? Anyway, it was devastating to hear her crying like that. I wanted to comfort her, but I couldn't even get close. She cried more as I walked towards her, because she thought I was her uncle. You're amazing, Keiichi. I can't believe that was only your imagination. It's exactly how Stoko was last year. I remember it clearly, but it's impressive how you can imagine it, since you've only been here a few months. Really are amazing. So that explains why you feel the same urgency we do. You're the same way I do? Yes. I can't imagine it as clearly as you have, but I think Stoko will break in a few days if we don't do anything about this. I think she will hide behind the curtain and scream for her Nini. That's when we'll finally realise something. It's not a crime to be powerless. It's a crime to do nothing. It's only in my imagination, but I'm crying as though it's happening right in front of me. Reina can also sense how urgently we needed to save Stoko. Not everyone feels the same way though. My friends all do, but they're special, and normal people like those at CCC see us as overacting. They have a point though. We don't really have anything to say back to them if they're going to claim it's only been one day. It's just like getting a cold. Doctors always say, let's see what happens for a couple of days. Reina, I have a fun fact about that. So it's been happening for God knows how long, but I've noticed it especially badly basically since Christmas of last year, so going on for nearly a year. Every so often I will get incredibly sharp pains for no good reason, and sometimes they're annoying and sometimes they're like crippling. And my mum's advice, I went to the doctor about it and she was like, well, just let me know if it gets worse. And I'm like, how am I meant to know what's worse? I can't remember how long this has been going on for. And she's like, well, it can't be that bad if you're not worried about it. And I'm like, it's because I don't possess the capacity to be worried by my own body. Something goes wrong and I'm like, yeah, okay, it's just how it is. So, there's a fun fact about my experience with doctors and the joy of being chronically ill and unable to stand up for yourself. Is this actually something to worry about, or is it just a new symptom? We never know. Reina, I think we should trust our instincts. We have no time to spare. We have to save Stoko now. Yes, even if I can't come up with a good idea on my own, together we can accomplish anything. When I was down and depressed before, someone told me the same thing. I think now's the time to come together and show people what we can do. Yeah, I don't know who told you that, but that's exactly how I feel. It was strange. I've had this feeling ever since Reina told me the story at school. Felt like I too once learned a lesson after some event. Definitely have, several times over. But Reina and I only met recently. I guess it's just a coincidence. Anyway, I was so lonely inside of my imagination. I thought it was stupid for them to only sit and think about how they could save Stoko, and I made a selfish decision. Sorry, give me a sec. I eventually learned, just like Reina did, you never come up with anything good by worrying about something on your own. You have to talk to your friends. That way they'll help you reach the best possible solution. You said something when you stood in Shion's way today. You told her to trust you. You said you didn't have an idea yet, but that you'd find one soon. I'm going to trust you. I believe you'll come up with the best solution. Don't just rely on me. You can give me ideas if you have any. That's not what I meant. I have faith in my friends at all times. I'm going to trust us. I know that we can save Stoko, but we're not going to use a shortcut. That's right. We will save her from this mess. Keep on believing. I believe in us too. I will never think that I'm the only one who's trying to save her. I believe that all of us feel the same way. Let's have a meeting tomorrow. Miss Chie might have new information too. We may not be able to come up with a good idea right away, but she might have something. Yeah, you're right. I know that there's always another option. That's right. We're not going to give up. There is a better way. I'm sure there is. We may not find it right away, but we'll never give up. No, never. Mion praised her for it too, but Reina really is strong in a crisis. I got a little emotional when I was talking with Mion, but Reina's different. Her fire is quiet and blue, so at first glance it seems lesser than my bright red roaring blaze. But the truth is the opposite. Blue flames burn far hotter. As I spoke with Raina, I felt my useless wild energy calming down so I could rationally search for the best solution. Through that, I felt Raina's strength, though apparently Raina felt similarly about me. When I'm talking with you, I feel like I can accomplish anything. You're so strong and reliable. I feel more courageous when I talk with you. I feel more confident that we can save Satoko. I get calmness from you, and you get confidence from me. We balance each other out like that, huh? We're a good combination. Mion has a lot of power as a member of the Sonozaki family, but she has a very frail heart. But I believe that you and I can support her. That's right. We have nothing to be scared of. Yeah, I agree. Talking to Reina made me feel very confident. If I can share that confidence with my friends, I'll never feel down and miserable ever again. I'm going to give my power to the other club members so we can fight even harder. Rika's really depressed right now. She lost her will to fight, but I'm sure she'll get that will back once she sees us working hard. I'm sure she will, cries. You're right. Once she gets her willpower back, nothing can stop us. I'll see you tomorrow. Let's talk about our plan and involve the principal too. We should get advice from as many people as we can. Let's find the best possible solution. That's the best thing we can do right now. Yeah. I got off the phone with Raina. That was a pretty passionate conversation we were having. It's unfortunate that the CCC came to the conclusion they did, but if they could still decide to wait and see, then that proved that Satoko was still safe for now. We are no more than children. Worrying about it too much won't cause us to come up with any good ideas. Murder isn't a real solution. Thanks for the maturity there, Keiichi. But I had to admit, I thought about it once. It's easy to burn up in a rage. However, I'd have to stay calm, like Raina. She was still burning up very calmly with a blue and quiet flame. I'd never seen anything like that before. Keiichi, go take a bath already. Hurry up. I heard my mum speaking to me. You can go ahead of me, Mum. I need more time to think about what to do with Satoko. Everyone else is probably doing the same. You should go first. There's bath salt from real hot springs in there. It feels really good on your skin. I don't think there's bath salt in real hot springs. Milk tastes so good after a bath. Dad seemed to be in a good mood. He probably finished his work. He's as scary as a bear when he has artist block. Maybe my parents could help with an idea. They're the closest adults to me after all. Should I talk to them? Stupid question. I had no reason not to. I'd have to talk to them and seek some advice. Dad, I have something I want to talk to you about. Huh? What's this? Is it about the auction at the coming festival? You have my full support. Speaking of which, when is the next festival committee meeting? They called me to participate too. I have to mark my calendar. Oh, it's not about that. My classmate's in trouble. As I talked about Satoko, my mum joined us and listened as well. My dad is a strange artist, but my mum is a normal person with common sense. She might be able to help. I just got a call and found out they put her case on hold. I'm wondering what we should do now. They really called the CCC, so you should let them take care of it. But she was being abused last year too, right? Don't know how bad it was, but I think it's wrong for him to force her to move out of her friend's place. He was neglecting her for a year after all. We can't just wait and see what happens, because the consultation centre said to. We're her friends, we want to be more aggressive about saving her, but we have no idea how we can do that. My voice is dying and I'm sorry. Keiichi, don't even think about attacking him. I'm not. I wouldn't talk to you guys if that was on my mind. That's true. Thought you might ask us how to commit a perfect crime. Wink. Hey, I would never ask my parents something like that. I think. Keiichi, you're right. There are many battles in this world, but it's always important you follow the rules. People won't help you if you're going to break them, and they won't respect you either. You have to fight according to the rules. There are even rules for battles? Well, anyway, do you have any ideas? My parents have been alive for more than twice as long as me. They must have had some experience with things like this. They must have had many good ideas. At least that's what I thought, but they crossed their arms and went silent. Calling the CCC is the first thing you should do, but what do you do if that doesn't work? Do you think we can even rely on the law? Do you think the police won't do anything until Satoko is seriously injured? I think you have to make an appeal. Appeal? Wait, you mean sue him? That's not it. CCC is supposed to take care of the child abuse cases, but if you're unsatisfied with the decision they make an appeal to the court. Keiichi, you go to the court when you can't resolve an issue with the person you're dealing with. It's the final place you go to. You want the CCC to protect Satoko, right? But they made a decision that you disagree with. And... Thank goodness we got sound back. Got worried for a second there. The music that they have with the background in that bit made me, reminded me so much of one of the Final Fantasy songs. I'm trying to remember which one it was. We need to make an appeal to the CCC. If we're unsatisfied with the decision we made, we can simply go and tell them that. We need to go there and explain to them how serious this case is. Yeah, that sounds good. They have no idea what the situation Toko is in right now. Since they're misunderstanding what's going on, we have to go there and make it clear. I see. That's the best approach. I don't know about that. I've heard they never change their decisions once made. Might be just a waste of time. Funky music time. Well, we don't know that until we try. Giving up before even trying is what losers do. We have to try everything we can. Remember what the principal said? We'll fail if we give up before even trying. Shion, your fire is blazing bright red, ready to do whatever it takes, even if that's acting hasty to save Satoko. But truly, hot fire is blue and calm. Don't give up. We should do everything we can. What do you think, Miss Chie? Am I wrong? No, you're not saying anything wrong. You've calmed down a lot. I was concerned for you because I thought you might come up with an idea to attack him in the dark. That's what my mum was saying. Is that how people perceive me? I thought we should wait and see what happens. But after hearing everything all of you have said and thinking about what happened last year, I now understand that this is an emergency situation. People can change their minds if you're persuasive enough. The CCC might change their mind too. They might reverse their decision if you succeed in making an appeal. What do you think, Shion? You should fight with us rather than thinking about it alone. I'm not feeling lonely. I'm not sad because I'm all alone. You do sound awfully sad, actually. Maybe you do want to join us? Whatever. Fine then. Let's just go to the CCC. I'm going to punch them in their faces if they don't do something. That's not a good idea, but I feel your passion now. Guess you calmed down after getting some sleep. I'm just serious about this is all. Anyway, let's go and make it happen. I know where the CCC is. This old man didn't know until recently, but it's on the first floor of the library. Mion grinned and showed us the location on a city guidebook. She's really prepared for this. The office is open until 5:15. Don't try and pick a fight with them. We have to stay calm. What? Are you talking to me, sis? Who do you think I am? I'll cry if I have to. Our goal is to make them change their mind. That's it, Shion. I think we can make it if we leave right now. It was past 3. We'd make it before they closed if we rushed there on our bikes. But they're strict about time, aren't they? Might kick us out as soon as it's time to close. The door will close on time, but once we're inside, they'll never kick us out. Listen, make sure you don't give in when negotiating with these officials. Officials are surprisingly tough, but unlike private citizens, they're not allowed to end the discussion on their own. So when you feel like you can't get anywhere by continuing the discussion, don't give in. You have to dig deep and make sure they listen to everything we have to say. How do you know all that, Mion? Who do you think I am? I represent Oya Sonozaki, member of the Mayor's Social Gathering and the Local Government Monitoring Committee. I speak to government officials all the time. Hey, Mion, is it possible to save her using the influence of the Sonozaki family? Well, not if I have to go through Granny. It's impossible to get help from her. Her mind's still stuck in the dam conflict. 100 million with one spirit and stuff like that. She hates the whole family to this day. Talking about Stoko's parents who were for the dam project, I've never met your grandma, but she needs to learn how to forgive. It's a thing of the past now. Exactly. I agree with you, Keiichi. So the Sonozaki family can't do anything about it? Yeah, we can't. I'm sorry, old people are so stubborn. They cherish Rika, but they don't care about Stoko. Horrible. Can't forgive Stoko's uncle for aggressively abusing her, but I'm not about to forgive other people for quietly abusing her either. Tell those people not to piss off Keiichi Maebara. I'll do that. Should we go now? We have no time to waste. Alright, we better hurry. Let's get going. Do you want to come with us, Rika? Let's go. Raina spoke to Rika, who'd been avoiding a conversation. She seemed to have given up all hope yesterday. It was so painful to see her so depressed. It's just a waste of time anyway. You have to stop saying anyway. You don't know if it's a waste of time or not unless we try. You people did everything you could in your previous lives, but you never found a way to save her. You think this time will be different? Sometimes I really had no idea what she was saying. All I could tell was she was being negative about the situation. Have you tried going to the CCC already? Then we should try. Stoko is important to you, isn't she? We have to try and see what happens. I'm sure Stoko needs your help right now. This world is going to end soon anyway. What's wrong? We have to hurry up. Rika doesn't seem to be interested. So much for friends. She's so close to Stoko, but she wouldn't even get off her butt to save her. I never thought I'd hear you say something like that. You used to hate her so much. What? Is your brain working alright? Why would I hate Stoko? Never mind. Fine, I'll come with you people. I've nothing to do at home but drink until I pass out anyway. Mood. Mood AF. Pissing me off. You're trying to make a fool out of me? Stop it, Shion. You stop it too, Rika. Let's get together and save Satoko. I'm sure we can make a miracle happen if we work together. But we need everyone to come together. Can't leave any one of us behind. We need you too, Rika. Something that Raina said must have given Rika motivation. I could see a slight sparkle in her eyes. Raina had said something interesting. She said we could make a miracle happen. It's the same thing I said when this world began. At that time, I said I could make a miracle happen, but I didn't say how. But Raina just clearly stated that. We can make a miracle happen if we work together. Yes, miracles can happen when we work together. There will be miracles when you believe. Been thinking about that musical recently. And what if there is no miracle? That means we haven't tried hard enough. If we all do the best we can, a miracle will happen for sure. That's true. Ms. Rikyu is right. People get stronger when they help each other. You can overcome any obstacle when everyone works together. Yep. Hinamizawa was fated to be submerged underwater, but 2,000 people got together and brought an end to that destiny. Bring an end to destiny. As villagers of Hinamizawa, we all know that miracles do happen. We'll win if we work hard together. I think you have no choice but to come with us now, Rika. If you don't come, a miracle won't occur. Your absence will prevent it from happening. So it's going to be my fault. That's interesting. A miracle is something we can make happen, but we need everyone's power to make that come true. Destiny can be defeated. Fate can be escaped from. This can happen with a miracle. A miracle can happen if we unite. Raina told me yesterday, you'll never come up with a solution if you think about everything by yourself. We have to talk this out together. Don't let fate get the better of you. It's as fragile as a thin sheet of paper. How can you say that without knowing how stubborn fate can be? To me, a witch trapped within fate. But for some reason, his words sounded very persuasive. He easily changed my fate to play the fishing game. In my previous life, Keiichi saved Raina from her devastating fate. As fragile as a thin sheet of paper. As fragile as my pronunciation of words. He's saying the world I've been struggling in for 100 years is that easy to change? Keiichi have made a fool out of me. Interesting. I'll go with you. That's more like you, Rika. Oh, Rika, are you sure? Hanyu looked at me with concern. She wanted to warn me that I'll get hurt if I expect too much. I don't have any coins left to bet. I don't have anything to lose. This world is ending soon anyway. But it was the same in my previous life. I thought all was lost when Raina took over the school. But Keiichi turned everything around. He's saying that fate is as fragile as a thin sheet of paper. I've given up on this world anyway, but I'm interested. Fate will betray you anyway. I'll get hurt as I see it happen to you. Don't worry, I'm not going to get depressed anymore. I have no tears left to shed. I know they can't save Satoko no matter what happens. That's why I'm doing this. It's the first time we've ever gone to the CCC. Keiichi can't make any miracles happen. Hanyu spoke to me in a stern voice. Miracles are called miracles because they don't happen easily. If it can happen at any time, it's not a miracle. It's just something that was meant to be. I'm not expecting anything. I'm just interested. I'm curious how Keiichi's going to make his move after saying how easily he can change fate. Rika, please don't hurt yourself anymore. That's none of your business. Get out of here. I wasn't expecting anything. I was just trying to enjoy my last week alive, like watching a TV show. But I had to admit, I was possessed by a strange feeling. It was a little bit exhilarating. I was nervous, as if anticipating something. I felt the same way when Keiichi remembered the memories from the past in my previous life. I didn't have any coins left to make a bet, but I knew what this feeling meant. If I had a coin left in my heart, I would bet everything on this feeling. If it doesn't work out after trying every option, I'll have no choice but to give up. There's no need for us to give up. Satoko is going to be saved. You'd better prepare a clean blanket for Satoko. She's coming back to you soon, and I'd feel bad if she didn't have a soft bed waiting for her. I like that, Keiichi. Well then, let's go. Might tear apart fate like a thin sheet of paper after all. Yeah, right now I feel like I could take on the ruler of hell. I'm gonna make them change their decision. I stood up from my seat. Keiichi is a very good speaker. That's why I never get bored with him. I've been with him for 100 years, but he still keeps me entertained. We're going to the CCC now. Do you want to come with us, Miss Chie? I'm going to talk to the Board of Education. We're under the same branch as government as the CCC. Might help if I talk to them. After all, I'm working for the public too. That's true. They might listen to what you say. Let's have it take care of that while we take care of our business. Let's fight then. Alright, let's go everybody. Yeah. Even knowing that everything was doomed, part of me felt like something good might happen. Hanyu told me it was only a waste of time. I felt the same way until a few minutes ago, but I'd become much more interested. I had no idea what would happen. I wanted to see how Keiichi was planning to defeat this destiny. I raised my fist in the air along with them and hurried to the exit. As for Satoko, she didn't come to school again today. Tepe called the school and told them she still has a fever. He said he's going to keep her home for a few days until she gets better. Chie said she thinks Tepe knows she called the CCC. He must be worried that Satoko will rat him out if he lets her go to school. I don't want to think about it, but it's possible that Satoko is visible bruises by now. That could also be why he won't let her go to school. Everything was happening much earlier. Satoko's situation was worsening earlier than it did in my previous lives. I'm gonna finish this chapter. I'm feeling it. How long are they gonna make us wait? People seem to be free. They should let us talk to them. Those are just general office workers. We have to talk to the actual social worker responsible for the case. I wonder if they're busy because they have a lot of cases like this. I don't know. I wish they didn't have so many issues to deal with. This world is tragic. So many kids are being abused. After 30 minutes, they finally called my name. I wrote down my name at the registration as Mion-kan let them know she's from the Sonozaki family. I'm Meibara, and my name was called. I went to the receptionist to find a uniformed older lady. She must be one of the office workers Mion mentioned. Was she really going to be the one dealing with us? Hello, Miss Meibara. I see you're here with 4 other friends. How can— I said Ms. I meant to say Mr. How can I help you today? The only thing I wrote in the registration was that I wanted to talk about Satoko Hojo. Well, we're here to talk about Satoko Hojo's case. Ms. Chie from the Hinamizawa branch school called and made a report yesterday. We'd like to discuss the case. Are you her friends? Yes, we're her classmates. Would you please give me a general summary of what you wish to discuss? I heard that you guys put a hold on it because you determined there wasn't any abuse happening. So we've come here today in order to explain Satoko's situation in more detail. I see. Please wait a few more minutes. That was it from her then. A real social worker should be coming here to talk with us. She was just asking us basic information. With that done, she was talking on the phone and explaining to someone what I just told her. What did she ask? She asked me why I was here. She told me to wait for a few more minutes. I hate waiting like this. Are those posters and advertisements you've been reading really that interesting, Mion? I've seen lots of flyers about abuse. I guess we came to the right place. Report the abuse before it escalates. Check out that slogan. Check it out. There's a bunch of posters with slogans like that in here. I guess that's what the CCC is for. Is it any help if it's inside the building there? Rika was right. They should be posting them all over the city, not just inside the building. Meibara, thank you for waiting. Please go to room number 2. It's our turn now. Let's go. As we walked, we soon saw rooms numbered 133. I thought we were going to be talking at the counter like you do at a bank, but they have individual rooms. I guess it's for privacy reasons. Most of the people who come here don't want other people listening to the conversation. But I think abuse might be increasing because people try and keep this issue quiet. People tend not to talk about their family issues. Room number 2. It's this one. As I knocked, I heard the voice of a man telling me to come in. Hello? It was a very small room. Well, I should say it was narrow. It wasn't wide, but it was very long. There was a counter in the middle which split the room into 2. The man was sitting on the other side of the counter. He told us to take a seat, but there were only 2 chairs. I sat down since we registered under my name. Mion wouldn't sit because she felt the Sonozaki sisters shouldn't be in the front. Reina tried to offer the seat to Rika, but she refused to, so Reina ended up taking it. Such a tiny room, it was better for us to take a seat. Very cramped with the 5 of us. I'm sorry, we usually expect to see the parents, so we only have 2 chairs. I understand that. So how may I help you today? Should I do the talking? Well, we're students from Hinamizawa branch school and we're Satoko Hojo's friends. The school reported she was being abused at the CCC, and I believe that a social worker went to her house last night. We heard you put a hold on her case. We're here today so we can explain to you how urgent the matter is. Mion nodded. Seemed like I was doing okay so far. What are you trying to explain to us? Will you please tell me? Well, I know it's only been 2 days since Uncle took her away, but it's only a matter of time before he starts hurting her. In fact, Toko suffered terrible abuse at the hands of her uncle last year as well. We believe it's only a matter of time before that happens again. So we'd like for you to save Toko from her uncle before it does. But from what we understand, the CCC has decided to wait and see, right? You're going to neglect her? Can't believe that you left her here just because she's not getting physically abused. Who's going to be responsible when she really gets hurt? Shion probably didn't like how I was speaking to him. She was already flaring up with rage at the social worker. It looked like Mion didn't want her to tear into him. However, she let Shion finish, as she get even more furious if he tried to stop her. Man seemed to be used to people losing their temper, and he continued without reacting to her outburst. I'd like to make it clear that we're still working on her case. The results are still pending. We're not abandoning or neglecting her. Working on her case. Not abandoning her, they're currently reviewing options, I suppose? Well, the mature phrasing made me start to think it might be rude and harsh to say they're abandoning her. Raina quietly opened her mouth. But you left her there without doing anything last night. No one can ever fool Raina. Taking the time to review options was the exact same thing as abandoning her. The fact is, they left her in that house without taking any actions to prevent her from being abused. We sent a social worker to her house and they met with her guardian. We cannot talk about the case any further for privacy reasons. However, we are not neglecting her. We're going to look after her and her father so they can have a healthy life together. He's not a father, he's her uncle. You sure you really did an investigation? Excuse me, you're correct, they're uncle and niece. Anyway, we'll be directing them so guardian and child can form a healthy relationship. Shion had pounced on his mistake immediately. Didn't think she needed to be so snappy, but at this point I was starting to understand how different the sense of urgency was from ours. Well, excuse me, but Stoko was living a happy life before, without any support from her uncle. First of all, her uncle disappeared from her life for a full year prior, and now he's returned and kidnapped her away. Isn't that a crime? It wasn't kidnapping. It's the law the child must live where their guardian appoints them to live. According to Article 821 of the Constitution, legal guardian of a child is. He neglected Stoko for a year. How can he still be considered her guardian? Shion, that's what the court decided when my parents died of the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Are you serious? Guy's a legal guardian? Yes, I don't know the specific article of what's written in, but minors must abide by them. In other words, every child has a guardian. They must have one. That's Article 818 of the Code. When Stoko's parents died, her uncle and aunt automatically became her guardians? Yes, the closest relative gets custody. It seems that aunt and uncle were Stoko's only relatives. If Stoko and Stoshi refused them, they could have had a different guardian though. But they were the children of the Hojo family, enemy in the dam conflict. No one was going to take care of them. They were different from Rika. Lots of people wanted to be her guardian, but Father Kimiyoshi got custody of her. I knew that the Hojo family was in favour of the dam project, and the whole village hated her for that reason. But I thought everything was over after they cancelled the project and Stoko's parents died. Was I aware of the difference? Difference between how the villagers treat Stoko and how they treat Rika? Villagers don't abuse Stoko like her uncle, but maybe there were small thorns left in the village and they were stinging her occasionally. God, my throat hurts. I can't say this too openly, but Stoko's family had more assets than her uncle's, and by becoming her guardians, they gained control over those assets. That's why they shamelessly took over Stoko's home. Do you know where they used to live? It was this ridiculously tiny place. It's horrible, but this guardian neglected Stoko for over a year, right? Can he still claim custody of her? Can he? Well, in Part 4, Chapter 4 of the Civil Code, there are provisions for loss of custody. The man opened a thick book on the counter and showed us that page. Didn't completely understand what it says on there, but it seemed that a parent can lose custody when they're being irresponsible. So the law can take away the right to be someone's guardian. Wait a minute, it says something about court. Let me see. At the behest of the child's relatives or a public prosecutor, the family court may make a ruling for the loss of parental authority. The heck is this? So we'd have to sit around and wait for a family court ruling before he can lose custody? It's too slow. Well, if something urgent happens where we can temporarily protect her under our custody, we'll also need full approval of the family court in that case. Here, Article 834 for the loss of parental authority. Doesn't this apply to Teppei Hojo? It is a fact the guardian, Teppei Hojo, abandoned his responsibilities as a guardian for over a year. What is the Centre's opinion on that? Can't answer for privacy reasons, but the Centre requested an explanation on that matter as well. And you accepted his explanation, so you decided to wait and see? Like I mentioned, we're currently working on the case. Safety of the child is our #1 priority, and we'll make sure that she'll have a healthy lifestyle in a safe environment. We weren't on the same page at all. They just weren't understanding the urgency. I'd never met this Teppei guy. I only know about the situation Buddhist and what my friends told me about last year, and what Ms. Chie told us. But I still understood very well. I understood that something really bad was going to happen if we didn't take any action right now. She was being abused by her uncle and aunt last year too. You sure the same uncle can take care of her? You still have the records from last year, don't you? Can't discuss her past record with you for privacy reasons, but we're taking everything into consideration. She didn't come to school yesterday and she didn't come today either. He called the school and told them she had a cold, but don't you think it's a bit odd that she hasn't come to school since he showed up? That's true, but then she might really be sick. I think we should keep our eyes on her and see what happens. We just know that Stoko doesn't want to be with her uncle. Her uncle is forcing her to stay with him. A social worker spoke with the child and made the decision after doing so. So that's it, is it? You're not taking this case seriously because you made a false report long ago? I cannot talk about that for privacy reasons. We're taking everything into consideration. Satoko was telling you she's not being abused because she feels guilty about her brother, Satoshi. She may have told you she's not being abused, but I don't believe that statement. Do you know that people can use the will to seek help when they have depression? Yeah, boy. Emotionally abused for several years, never sought help. Didn't even realise it was emotional abuse until years after I'd finished. Stop making excuses and hurry up and save Satoko. I'm not going to forgive you people if something happens to her. You'll end up hurt if you don't do something about this while I'm still asking politely. Stop it, Shion. You're making us look bad. I don't know what her uncle said to the social worker, but he's a violent guy. Please don't be fooled by him. I just wanted to make that clear. So please, speak with a social worker and persuade them to make the call to save Satoko at once. We ask that you do this for us. Some of us were getting emotional, but Mion calmed them down, and Reina summed it up nicely. I stopped speaking to see what she was going to say next. You mean her caseworker? I understand your concerns. I'll tell them that Stoko's friends, 3, 4, 5 of her friends came here and made an appeal to us. We will continue to work closely on this case, so please let us know when you have further information. Thank you for supporting the CCC, and thank you very much for sharing your valuable time with us today. We were still in Okonomiya. We were in the city park, devoid of playing children, staring vacantly up in the madder red sky in silence. I feel like they didn't really listen to our story. But they also didn't try and kick us out. He's probably just a person who deals with complaints, not the actual social worker that deals with Satoko. That's why he was phrasing everything the way he did. What did you think about the whole thing, Mion? Well, it felt like we were wrestling with a tree. We didn't get pushed or pulled. It was the same as talking to a wall. That's not true. He said they will forward our information to the social worker. Like I said, he doesn't know Satoko in person, so he didn't really have the stake in it himself. So you think we accomplished something today, Reina? I don't think it was a waste of time. But I don't think our passion will be understood by the actual person who's working on the case. He'll just tell them that Satoko's 5 friends came and requested for them to take her under their custody. What about the social worker? Can't we talk to that person directly? I don't know. I heard it's a very tough job. I think it'd be difficult for us to meet them in person. Someone even threatened to hurt them if they didn't do anything while she was still asking them politely. According to Mion, there are lots of problematic clients who show up at the CCC. It's not a rare thing for them to get an aggressive visitor like Shion. It's so difficult to tell them how passionate we are. They might treat us coldly if they took our passion for simple anger. I thought you were used to talking with government officials, Mion. Can't you talk to them instead of me? It's not that she's good at talking. They just listen to her because she's Mion Samazaki. You saw how they treated us today. If she announced herself as Samazaki, we wouldn't have been such a small room. We'd have been speaking to the manager in a reception room, right? Mion gave a vague smile and didn't comment. Mion's greatest weapon is her family name. Without that weapon, she's just as ordinary as the rest of us. I shouldn't be thinking about this, but if the Sonozaki family forgave Satoko's family, it would be really easy for them to save her. So the Sonozaki family still hates the Hojo family? No one has publicly stated we hate them, but it runs pretty deep. That hag of a grandmother is the one who hates the Hojo family. Her opinion hasn't changed since we were in the middle of the dam conflict. It's been so many years, but she still can't let go of the past. Stop it, Shion. Satoko is Satoko. She's our precious friend. It doesn't matter what her last name is. Shion went quiet, and there was silence for a while. Reina was right. Just like how Satoko's last name doesn't matter, it doesn't matter what Mion's last name is either. The important thing is that our friend is being abused right now. We'd have to do everything we can to save her from that situation. Got hiccups! We all looked up at the sky as we listened to the sound of cars passing by. We all felt hopeless. We had no idea what to do. Was what we did today going to help Satoko at all? It would have been better if they just kicked us out. That way we could have been angry with them. But after being treated politely like that, we had no choice but to back off and see what they were going to do. We were forced to just wait and see what happens. Everyone was trying to figure out what our next option was. I couldn't expect Miss Chie to tell us everything was taken care of at the Board of Education. That would be too good to be true. What should we do next? I muttered to myself, hoping someone would respond with a good idea. But the silence reminded me that everyone was just as stuck as me. Keiichi. Rika, I'm sorry. I was running my mouth off, but I have no idea what to do now. I don't believe this. What? As I looked at her, I realised the expression on her face was stronger than ever. You told Shion yesterday you didn't have a good idea at that moment, but you said you'd figured something out. You told her to trust you. So, I trusted you. I'm not going to believe it. I'm not going to believe that you would even mention you have no idea. I'm not going to believe that. I could see tears in her eyes. Rika was sure that I could do something about the situation. You said it. You said that fate is as fragile as a thin piece of paper. I'm going to believe your words. I still believe you, because you can easily defeat fate. So, please help. Help us escape from this fate. Help Satoko. Help her. A tear rolled down from the corner of her eye. My heart was feeling the same way. Damn it, damn it. An innocent girl was becoming a prisoner of a tragic fate. She desperately needed help. I told them they could trust me. In other words, that they could count on me. That they could bet on me. Bet on it, bet on it. Betting is not an easy thing. Did you know I've never actually seen that film? If I lost, they'd lose their coins too. What does it mean to trust someone? It's about making a bet on that person. It's about betting a coin. It's about betting hope. Trusting someone is tantamount to placing your hopes in them. I told Shion yesterday. I told her to trust me. I didn't say it just because. I knew those words meant something very serious. But now, after betraying Rika and seeing her tears, I finally realised just how serious it is. I looked at Shion. She was in a rage again. Mion tried to calm her down, but she didn't have any ideas either. How about Reina? She's always very reliable in a situation like this. I expected to see her strength. But she also looked depressed. We didn't even know if what we did was a meaningful thing. Reina looked down with a devastated expression on her face, and she couldn't come up with another option either. Damn it, I have to do something for them. Reina's blue fire will melt iron. Mion can be strong when the wind is in our favour. Shion is the same way. We'll move forward strongly when the wind is backing it up, but they grow weak when the wind is blowing against them. Despite the whole situation, Rika still believes in us. She believes that we can do something if we all come together. That's right, we all agreed. We said to each other we can make a miracle happen if we all work together. What am I? If Rain is the blue fire, I'm the red fire. I burn brightly and give strength to everyone. That's right, I'm Keiichi Maebara. I'm the magician of words. I have to motivate everyone. The blue fire won't light up unless the red fire does so too. When the fire is lit, there'll be wind. Mion and Shion will become stronger too. Thank you. You just made me realise something, Rika. Now the flames inside me are really starting to blaze. Keiichi, we can't give up now. We're members of the strongest club ever. Nothing can stop us when we get together. I can't become depressed over a small thing like this. Rika woke me up. I just realised how serious it is to have people trust in me. Rika knew her personalities well, and she figured out just who she should motivate first. Oh, I'm really starting to burn out. Hey, Mion, stop being depressed. This is where we're supposed to get angry, man. Everyone looked at me with wide eyes as they turned at my powerful voice. They were both surprised by my sudden shout, and waited in anticipation of the vigour of my call. More and more clearly I could see it. This was Keiichi Maebara's role in this club. I don't think we did anything at the Child Consultation Centre. Just like Reina was saying, they're going to go forward a small note saying the 5 of us made a visitation. But being treated like that has lit the fires of our anger. You're right, it does feel like they gave us the cold shoulder. We were trying to get them to realise how much danger Satoko was in. We have to fight now. We have no time to be sitting all depressed in the park. But Keiichi, what are we supposed to do next? Don't tell me you think we have no more options left. If this was a club activity, you guys would be losing right now. This is fun. I was feeling depressed too, but now I've got a burning passion in my heart. I feel like I was cheering myself up. Why was I being so sad? If I wanted to save Satoko, I had no time to rest. This was like the final seconds of the last round in a boxing match where we were at disadvantage. If we stand here stupefied, I'll lose by indecision. So the only option is to press the attack. Was I supposed to give up just because I couldn't knock out the opponent with one punch? One punch! No. If I couldn't take him out in one, I'd have to throw 2 or 3. I'd have to try until I could finally knock him out. You're saying that we're going to go there tomorrow? Close, but not exactly. I have no idea what's going on in your mind. But it sounds very interesting. It isn't like a club to cry ourselves to sleep. We need to turn this headwind around. Yes, Mion is getting her willpower back too. That's right, I agree with Keiichi. I'm ashamed that I was so depressed. Let's fight. But what exactly are you trying to do? Remember everyone, that man really pissed us off today, but he also told us what our next option is. He never thought he was giving us a hint. He made a huge mistake. On top of that, the next option is something I'm really good at. Right on time too. Icon is the blue and red flames. No. Whoops. Date, year. Subject. About Stoko Hojo. Visitor. Keiichi Maebara and 4 other friends. They're requesting protection for Stoko Hojo to save her from being abused by her uncle. Already being dealt with. I'm cleaning out the refrigerator, so please remove your personal belongings by this evening. Fucked up. Teppei suspected that Stoko was hiding money somewhere. But in reality, she had none at all. Teppei had asked her how she survived until now, but she told him she didn't have to use any money because she was living with a friend. Teppei had made some money off illegal gambling. When he had some of that money saved up, he had no intention to use it on living expenses. However, there was no way Stoko didn't have the money. Teppei was convinced of that. Teppei's wife, Stoko's aunt, must have taken away the family bank book when Stoko's parents died in the accident. But her aunt also died last year, and so she is gone too. That means Stoko should have hidden the bank book somewhere. However, no matter how much he threatened her, she told him she didn't know anything about it. He continued to question Stoko, still believing that she was hiding it somewhere. He couldn't beat her because the teacher and the CCC would suspect him. So he wouldn't beat her. Instead, he spoke to her in a loud and violent voice and broke furniture in front of her. Threatening people like that is Teppei's forte. However, Stoko continued to claim she had no idea about the bank book. She didn't seem to be lying. After destroying the whole living room, leaving Stoko frightened like a scared little animal, Teppei finally believed that Stoko had no idea where the bank book was. In that case, where could it be? He had 2 ideas. One was that his wife had hid it somewhere in secret. The other was that Satoshi took it after his wife's death and hid it somewhere else. Either way, he was certain it was hidden somewhere in this house. He told Stoko to clean up the mess he made in the living room and started searching around the house. Teppei was starting to get bored with Stoko. He'd heard that her parents had a lot of money saved up, but his wife had taken control of that money herself. Since his wife had been quite thrifty, he was sure she left the bank book somewhere without using it. Once he got his hands on that money, he could move somewhere else entirely. He was still acquainted with a few people from the gambling spot in Gogoda. People who used to help out still hanging around that area. They still owe him. They should at least let him crash there. It was great that Stoko takes care of all the chores around the house, but Teppei was felt uncomfortable about being watched by both the school and the CCC. All too aware that he was a man of violence, couldn't stand living with Stoko without being violent towards her. The more he suffered, the stronger his urge to beat her grew. Since he only knew joy for trusting others who resisted to submit, testing to see how violent he could be before the helpless Stoko resisted him was something he was excited to try eventually. Still upset over the visitation by the teacher, he promised himself he'd destroy Stoko's life before leaving the village. Fucked up if true. And of course we know that it is true. Anyway folks, I am going to end things off here. I'm going to say thank you very much for watching. It is very much appreciated and I do hope that you enjoyed. I will be streaming Destiny 2 tomorrow at around about 8 o'clock Pacific, continuing the story of Beyond Light. Then on Saturday at 5 o'clock Pacific, it will be Nier Automata. We will be continuing our adventures in Route B and seeing how it starts to diverge from Route A. Then Sunday at about 5 o'clock Pacific will be Destiny 2. Monday, 8 o'clock Pacific, if I've still got story to do, Beyond Light will be then. And next Tuesday, I don't know yet, we'll see. As I mentioned last night, the plan basically is to keep streaming Beyond Light every day in the evenings until I finish the main body of the story, and then we'll be moving back to normal Sunday streams. I will probably be streaming on Tuesday as well, just because my normal stream on Tuesday will be Final Fantasy XIV. I'm not doing anything in that at the moment. I could try and advance Bashar, get some stuff done on him, but I'm not too fussed about it. The other thing would just, all I need to do in FF14 at the moment is grind out in Bashar to get to level 15 and get my armor done, my weapons, which would be quite easy. So basically the plan is Destiny, unless otherwise mentioned, where Thursdays are Higurashi and Saturdays are Nier. So yeah, take care everybody, have a wonderful evening, do look after yourselves, be excellent to each other, and I shall see you guys tomorrow.